Have you ever felt like you're invisible, like no matter what you do, it's never enough for those around you? Maybe you've given your all, your time, your love, your energy, only to be met with indifference or even outright rejection. It's a lonely place to be, isn't it? The feeling of being overlooked, undervalued, or even ignored by those you care about the most can cut deep, leaving scars that seem impossible to heal. But what if I told you that this painful chapter of your life is not the end of your story? What if I told you that those who once took you for granted will one day look back and realize they lost something truly valuable? This isn't just a hollow promise, it's a truth rooted in ancient wisdom. The same wisdom that has guided some of the greatest minds through the toughest of times, a wisdom that can guide you too. Picture for a moment that you are a diamond buried deep in the earth. For years, people walked right over you, never realizing the treasure that lay beneath their feet. But over time, the earth shifts, and the diamond begins to surface. When the light finally catches it, people see it for what it truly is: brilliant, precious, and irreplaceable. You are that diamond, and though you may have been hidden for a while, your time to shine is coming. You see, life has a way of testing us, of pushing us to our limits, but it also has a way of revealing our true strength when we least expect it. The people who didn't appreciate you, who couldn't see your worth, are like those who ignored the diamond in the rough. They may have walked away thinking there was nothing there, but they were wrong. What they missed wasn't the absence of value, but the inability to see it. Now, you might be wondering, how can I change the way others see me? The answer lies not in changing who you are, but in embracing it fully. The power of your transformation doesn't come from seeking approval or validation from others. It comes from within. It comes from realizing that your value isn't determined by anyone else but you. Take a moment to reflect on the person you've been, the one who tried so hard to be everything to everyone, who sacrificed their own needs for the sake of others, who waited patiently for recognition that never came. Now, imagine that same person standing tall, not because others finally saw their worth, but because they finally saw it themselves. This is the beginning of your transformation. The ancient Stoics, those wise philosophers who lived centuries ago, understood this well. They believed that true power comes from within, from a deep and unwavering sense of self-worth that isn't shaken by the opinions of others. They taught that when you find your strength in yourself, you become unshakable, and when you are unshakable, people can't help but take notice. Being so deeply rooted in your own worth that the opinions of others no longer hold the power to dictate your happiness brings a profound sense of freedom and inner peace. Imagine being so confident in who you are that you no longer seek approval or validation from those around you. This is what it means to live with true power, and this is what will turn the tables in your favor. When you stop chasing after people who don't appreciate you, something incredible happens. You reclaim your energy, your time, and your self-respect. You start to focus on your own growth, on becoming the best version of yourself, not for anyone else, but for you. And as you do this, as you begin to shine in your own light, something even more remarkable happens. The people who once overlooked you begin to see you in a whole new way. It's not magic, and it's not a trick. It's a shift in energy, a change in how you see yourself that radiates outwards. When you value yourself, others will start to value you too. It's a simple truth, but one that is often forgotten in the hustle and bustle of trying to fit in or please others. But once you embrace this truth, you become unstoppable. Think about it. Who are the people you admire the most? Chances are they are individuals who live authentically, who aren't afraid to be themselves, who stand strong in their beliefs and values. These people don't chase approval. They command respect just by being who they are. And you can be one of these people too. The journey to self-realization isn't always easy. It requires letting go of the need for validation, releasing the fear of rejection, and embracing your true self, flaws and all. It requires courage to walk away from situations and people who don't appreciate you, knowing that you deserve better. But as you take these steps, you begin to build a life that is not only fulfilling, but also deeply rewarding. This journey is not about seeking revenge or proving others wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you are worthy of all the good things life has to offer. It's about understanding that your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see it. It's about rising above the need for approval and stepping into a life of purpose and authenticity. And here's the beautiful part. When you reach this place of inner strength and self-worth, the people who didn't appreciate you will begin to see what they missed. They will see the diamond that you are, and they will regret walking away. But by then, you'll be in such a strong place that their recognition will be a bonus, not a necessity. You will have already won the most important battle, the one within yourself. So, as you embark on this journey, remember that your worth is not something to be discovered by others. It's something to be discovered by you. The moment you realize this is the moment everything changes. The moment you stop needing others to see your value is the moment they will start to see it. This is your time to rise, to become the person you were always meant to be, strong, confident, and unapologetically yourself. And in doing so, you'll not only change the way others see you, but you'll also change the way you see yourself. And that, my friend, is the most powerful transformation of all. Are you ready to step into your power? The journey begins now. Let's continue together, and I promise you, the best is yet to come. You stand in front of the mirror, gazing at yourself, not just seeing your reflection, but every flaw and all the things you wish were different. The weight of self-doubt pressing down. Maybe it's the way you've been treated by others, the times you've been ignored or undervalued. Maybe it's the feeling that you're just not enough, no matter how hard you try. But what if I told you that everything you're searching for, every bit of validation, every ounce of approval, is already within you? What if I told you that the true power, the kind that changes everything, comes from recognizing your own worth? This is what the ancient Stoics understood deeply, and it's a truth that can transform your life in ways you never imagined. In the heart of Stoicism lies the profound belief that our value is not determined by external factors, by what others think of us or by what we possess, but by our own inner virtues and character. The Stoics believed that each of us has an intrinsic worth that is unshakable, regardless of our circumstances or the opinions of others. This isn't just a comforting thought, it's a powerful way to live. When you begin to see your worth from within, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing after things that don't serve you. You stop trying to fit into molds that were never meant for you. You stop giving away pieces of yourself just to gain approval. Instead, you start to cultivate a sense of self that is strong, resilient, and deeply rooted in your own values. This shift in perspective is the cornerstone of self-worth. It's about realizing that your value is not conditional. It's not dependent on whether others see it or acknowledge it. It simply is. And once you truly grasp this, you begin to live with a kind of quiet confidence that draws people in, not because you need them to, but because you no longer need to seek their validation. The Stoics, like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, taught that our worth comes from our ability to live in accordance with our principles. They believed that living a life of virtue, of honesty, courage, wisdom, and temperance was the highest good, and that by cultivating these qualities, we become truly valuable, both to ourselves and to the world around us. But how do we cultivate this sense of self-worth in a world that constantly tells us we're not enough? How do we build an unshakable foundation of confidence and self-respect when everything around us seems designed to undermine it. The first step is to turn inward. The Stoics taught that true power comes from within, from a mind that is disciplined and a heart that is strong. This means taking the time to understand yourself deeply, to know your values, your strengths, and your weaknesses. It means being honest with yourself about who you are and who you want to be, and then committing to living in a way that aligns with that vision. This self-awareness is crucial because it forms the foundation of self-worth. When you know yourself, you are less likely to be swayed by the opinions of others. You understand that their approval or disapproval does not define you. You become more grounded, more centered, and more confident in your own identity. Another important aspect of self-worth is self-respect. The Stoics believed that self-respect comes from living in accordance with our principles. When you make choices that align with your values, you build a sense of integrity that strengthens your self-worth. You begin to trust yourself more, and this trust becomes a source of inner strength. This is not about being perfect. The Stoics knew that perfection is an impossible ideal. Instead, they focused on progress, on the daily effort to live a virtuous life. They believed that each day offers a new opportunity to practice virtue, to make choices that reflect our true selves, and to grow stronger in our sense of self-worth. One of the most powerful ways to build self-worth is through the practice of mindfulness. The Stoics were masters of mindfulness long before it became a modern trend. They understood the importance of being present, of observing our thoughts and emotions without judgment, and of responding to life's challenges with calm and clarity. Mindfulness helps us to break free from the constant need for external validation. It allows us to observe our thoughts and feelings as they arise, without getting caught up in them. When we practice mindfulness, we become more aware of the ways in which we seek approval from others, and we can begin to let go of that need. We start to see that our worth is not dependent on what others think of us, but on our own ability to live in alignment with our values. Another key to cultivating self-worth is the practice of gratitude. The Stoics believed in the power of gratitude to transform our perspective and to remind us of the abundance in our lives. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we begin to see ourselves and our lives in a new light. We start to appreciate our own strengths, our own achievements, and our own unique qualities. This shift in focus helps to build a stronger sense of self-worth. Gratitude also helps us to detach from the constant comparisons that so often undermine our self-worth. In a world that is obsessed with competition and status, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others and feeling inadequate as a result. But when we practice gratitude, we shift our focus away from what others have and onto what we have. We begin to see our own lives as valuable and worthy, just as they are. This doesn't mean that we should become complacent or stop striving for growth. The Stoics were all about self-improvement and the pursuit of excellence, but they understood that true growth comes from a place of self-worth, not from a place of inadequacy. When we value ourselves, we are more motivated to grow and improve, not because we feel we are not enough, but because we know we have so much potential to realize. Another powerful Stoic practice that can help to build self-worth is the discipline of detachment. The Stoics taught that we should strive to be indifferent to external outcomes, to let go of our attachment to things we cannot control, and to focus instead on what is within our power. This detachment is not about apathy or disengagement. It's about recognizing that our worth is not tied to external circumstances or the opinions of others. When we detach from the need for external validation, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of approval and rejection that can so easily erode our self-worth. We begin to see that our value is intrinsic, and that it doesn't change based on what others think or how successful we are in the eyes of the world. This detachment allows us to live more authentically, to be true to ourselves, and to cultivate a deeper sense of self-worth. The Stoics also believed in the power of resilience to build self-worth. They taught that life is full of challenges and setbacks, but that these obstacles can be used as opportunities to grow stronger and to develop our character. When we face difficulties with courage and determination, we build a sense of self-worth that is rooted in our ability to overcome adversity. Resilience is about more than just bouncing back from setbacks. It's about using those setbacks as stepping stones to greater self-understanding and self-worth. When we face challenges head-on and refuse to be defeated by them, we build a sense of confidence in our own abilities and a deeper respect for ourselves. This resilience becomes a cornerstone of our self-worth, giving us the strength to face whatever life throws our way. Another important aspect of self-worth is self-compassion. The Stoics were often seen as stern and unyielding, but they also understood the importance of being kind to ourselves. Self-compassion means treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a close friend. It means recognizing that we are all imperfect, that we all make mistakes, and that this is a natural part of being human. When we practice self-compassion, we begin to let go of the harsh self-criticism that can so easily undermine our self-worth. We start to see ourselves as deserving of love and respect, not because we are perfect, but because we are human. This self-compassion helps to build a sense of self-worth that is based on acceptance rather than on the need to be flawless. The Stoics also taught the importance of living with purpose. They believed that each of us has a unique role to play in the world, and that living in alignment with this purpose is key to building self-worth. When we have a clear sense of purpose, we are more motivated, more focused, and more resilient. We are less likely to be swayed by the opinions of others because we know that we are living in accordance with our true calling. Living with purpose also means being true to our values. The Stoics believed that our values are the foundation of our self-worth, and that living in alignment with them is the key to a fulfilling and meaningful life. When we make choices that reflect our values, we build a sense of integrity and self-respect that strengthens our self-worth. We start to trust ourselves more, and this trust becomes a source of inner strength. Another powerful tool for building self-worth is the practice of self-reflection. The Stoics were big on self-reflection, believing that it was essential for personal growth and self-understanding. Self-reflection means taking the time to examine our thoughts, feelings, and actions, to understand what drives us, and to identify areas for improvement. Self-reflection helps us to gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, to see our strengths and weaknesses more clearly, and to make more conscious choices about how we want to live. This self-awareness is crucial for building self-worth, because it allows us to see ourselves more clearly and to make choices that are in alignment with our true selves. Finally, the Stoics believed that self-worth comes from living with integrity. Integrity means living in accordance with our values, being honest with ourselves and others, and staying true to our principles, even when it's difficult. When we live with integrity, we build a sense of self-worth that is strong and unshakable. We become more confident in our ability to make the right choices, and this confidence becomes a source of inner strength. Living with integrity also means being accountable for our actions. The Stoics believed that we should take responsibility for our choices, and that this accountability is essential for building self-worth. When we take ownership of our actions, we build a sense of self-respect that strengthens our self-worth. We start to trust ourselves more, and this trust becomes a foundation for a life of purpose and meaning. The Stoic philosophy offers a powerful framework for building self-worth. By cultivating self-awareness, self-respect, resilience, and integrity, we can build a sense of self-worth that is strong, resilient, and unshakable. We can learn to value ourselves not based on the opinions of others, but on our own inner virtues and character. And as we do this, we become more confident, more grounded, and more able to live a life of purpose and meaning. As you begin to understand the power of self-worth and see how deeply it's rooted within you, a new question emerges. How do you maintain this newfound strength in a world that constantly tries to pull you in different directions? The answer lies in the art of detachment. Imagine a life where you no longer chase after the opinions, approval, or affection of others, where your happiness and sense of self aren't tied to how someone else sees you. Instead, you stand firm in your own emotional independence, free from the need for validation. This might seem like a distant dream, but it's not just possible, it's powerful. And the surprising truth: when you master this detachment, you become even more magnetic to those around you. Detachment doesn't mean becoming cold or uncaring. It's about finding a balance where you can care deeply and passionately, but without losing yourself in the process. The Stoics understood this balance well. They believed that true freedom comes from within, from being able to control your emotions and reactions, rather than being controlled by them. This kind of detachment allows you to maintain your inner peace, no matter what's happening around you. The power of walking through life with a calm, steady heart radiates an unshakable strength, grounding you in every storm and guiding you with unwavering clarity. When you detach from the need for external validation, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster that so many people find themselves on. You stop being swayed by every opinion, every slight, every rejection. Instead, you stand strong in your own truth, unaffected by the chaos around you. One of the key lessons from Stoicism is that our happiness and well-being should not depend on things outside our control. This includes the opinions and actions of others. When you detach from the need for others to see your worth, you begin to live with a sense of freedom that is both rare and attractive. People are naturally drawn to those who seem unbothered by the trivialities that often consume others. This doesn't mean that you don't care about the people in your life or that you become indifferent to their feelings. It means that you care from a place of strength, not from a place of neediness. When you are emotionally independent, you can love more freely and more fully because your love is not tied to the need for something in return. You are no longer seeking to fill a void within yourself with the approval or affection of others. Instead, you are whole, and your interactions with others come from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. The Stoics taught that our attachments to things outside of our control often lead to suffering. When you are attached to the idea that someone else must approve of you for you to feel good about yourself, you give away your power. You become dependent on something that is inherently unstable and unreliable: other people's opinions. By detaching from this need, you reclaim your power and your peace. Detachment also allows you to see things more clearly. When you are not emotionally entangled in what others think of you, you can make decisions that are more aligned with your true values and desires. You are not swayed by the need to please others or to fit into their expectations. This clarity of mind is incredibly powerful and allows you to live a life that is true to yourself. Another important aspect of detachment is learning to let go of outcomes. The Stoics believed that we should focus on what is within our control, our actions, our thoughts, our attitudes, and let go of the rest. This means that you do your best in every situation, but you are not attached to how things turn out. You understand that the outcome is not always in your hands, and that's okay. When you live with this kind of detachment, you become more resilient. Setbacks and failures don't shake you because you know that your worth is not tied to external success or recognition. You understand that your value comes from within, and this makes you unshakable in the face of life's challenges. People are naturally drawn to this kind of resilience. When you are not easily rattled by life's ups and downs, you exude a sense of confidence and strength that others find incredibly attractive. It's not about being emotionless. It's about having control over your emotions, so they don't control you. Detachment also gives you the space to grow and evolve. When you are not constantly seeking validation from others, you have the freedom to explore who you really are and what you truly want in life. You can pursue your passions and interests without worrying about whether they will be approved or admired by others. This freedom to be yourself is incredibly powerful and leads to a deeper sense of fulfillment. When you stop seeking approval, you also stop comparing yourself to others. The need for validation often comes from a place of comparison, from looking at others and feeling that you don't measure up. But when you detach from this need, you begin to see that everyone is on their own unique journey, and there is no need to compare. You are enough, just as you are. This sense of being enough, of being complete within yourself, is what makes you truly attractive to others. When you no longer need others to validate you, you become someone who others want to be around. You exude a quiet confidence that is deeply compelling because it is rooted in something real and unshakable, your own sense of self-worth. The paradox of detachment is that the less you need others to notice you, the more they will. When you are no longer desperate for attention or approval, you become more intriguing, more mysterious. People are drawn to those who seem to have an inner world that is rich and full, who are not constantly seeking validation from the outside. This is the power of emotional independence. When you practice detachment, you also become more compassionate. You are no longer so focused on your own need for approval that you can genuinely care for others without expecting anything in return. This kind of selfless love is rare and beautiful, and it makes you someone who others want to be close to. You become a source of strength and support for those around you, not because you need their approval, but because you genuinely care. Detachment doesn't mean you don't have emotions. It means you have a healthy relationship with them. You feel your emotions fully, but you don't let them dictate your actions or your sense of self-worth. This emotional intelligence is incredibly attractive because it shows that you are in control of your inner world, and this control gives you a kind of quiet power. When you are detached, you are also more patient. You understand that things take time and that not everything will happen according to your timeline. This patience is rooted in the understanding that your worth is not tied to immediate results. You can wait for the right opportunities, the right people, and the right experiences because you know that you are worthy of them and you don't need to rush or force anything. This patience and calmness make you a steady presence in a world that is often chaotic and unpredictable. People are drawn to those who can remain calm in the face of adversity, who don't panic or become overwhelmed by challenges. This steadiness is a sign of true strength, and it's something that others deeply respect and admire. Detachment also allows you to be more present in your relationships. When you are not constantly worried about how others see you or whether they approve of you, you can be fully present with them. You can listen more deeply, connect more authentically, and love more freely. This presence is a gift that deepens your relationships and makes them more meaningful. When you are emotionally independent, you are also more open to new experiences. You are not afraid to take risks or try new things because you are not attached to a specific outcome. You understand that life is about growth and exploration, and you are willing to step out of your comfort zone to discover what truly fulfills you. This openness makes you more dynamic, more interesting, and more alive. The beauty of detachment is that it frees you from the fear of failure. When you are not attached to a specific outcome, you can approach challenges with a sense of curiosity and adventure rather than fear. You see failures as opportunities to learn and grow, rather than as reflections of your worth. This mindset of growth and exploration is incredibly empowering and makes you more resilient in the face of life's inevitable setbacks. People are drawn to those who are not afraid to take risks, who are willing to fail in the pursuit of something greater. This courage is a sign of true confidence, and it's something that others deeply admire. When you are detached from the need for success, you are free to pursue your passions and dreams with a sense of joy and purpose, rather than fear and anxiety. Detachment also gives you the freedom to let go of what no longer serves you. When you are not attached to specific people, outcomes, or situations, you can release them when they no longer align with your values or your growth. This ability to let go is a sign of true strength and emotional maturity. It shows that you value yourself enough to walk away from anything that doesn't support your well-being. This freedom to let go is incredibly empowering. It allows you to create space for new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences that align more closely with who you are and who you want to become. When you are not afraid to let go, you open yourself up to a life that is more authentic, more fulfilling, and more aligned with your true self. In the end, detachment is not about distancing yourself from the world. It's about engaging with it in a way that is healthy and empowering. It's about finding the balance between caring deeply and holding on lightly. When you master this balance, you become someone who is deeply attractive to others, not because you need them, but because you are complete within yourself. This emotional independence is the key to living a life of true freedom and fulfillment. It's what allows you to navigate the world with grace and strength, to build deep and meaningful relationships, and to pursue your dreams with confidence and purpose. And as you cultivate this detachment, you will find that those who once overlooked you will begin to see you in a whole new light, drawn to the strength and serenity that you now carry within you. As you've journeyed through the power of self-worth and the magnetic force of detachment, a new realization begins to emerge. The path to true fulfillment lies in embracing who you really are. But what does it mean to embrace your true nature? In a world that constantly pressures you to conform, to fit in, or to be someone else, how do you stay true to yourself? The answer, as the Stoics taught, is not just about being yourself. It's about discovering the strength that comes from living authentically. Imagine a life where you no longer feel the need to wear masks or hide parts of who you are, where you stand firm in your identity, confident and unashamed. This is the strength of authenticity, and it's more powerful than you might realize. The Stoics believed that living in accordance with your true nature was one of the highest goods. This isn't just about being honest or straightforward, though those are important. It's about aligning your actions, thoughts, and values with who you truly are. When you live authentically, you stop pretending to be someone you're not. You stop trying to meet the expectations of others and instead focus on what truly matters to you. This alignment creates a sense of inner peace and strength that can't be shaken by the opinions or judgments of others. The relief of shedding the heavy armor of pretense is profound. When you embrace your true nature, the constant need to impress or please others fades away, leaving you free to live authentically and unapologetically. You are free to be yourself, fully and without reservation. This freedom is incredibly empowering. It allows you to live with a sense of ease and confidence that is both rare and deeply attractive. People are drawn to authenticity because it is so refreshing in a world filled with facades and falsehoods. Living authentically requires a deep level of self-awareness. You must first understand who you are, your values, your strengths, your weaknesses, and your desires. This self-knowledge is the foundation of authenticity. Without it, you are easily swayed by the opinions and expectations of others. But when you know yourself deeply, you can make choices that are true to who you are, even in the face of external pressure. The Stoics taught that each person has a unique role to play in the world, and that our greatest fulfillment comes from living in accordance with that role. This doesn't mean that you have to have your entire life figured out, or that you need to know your purpose from the start. It means being open to discovering who you are and what you're meant to do, and then having the courage to live in alignment with that discovery. Authenticity also means accepting yourself fully, including your flaws and imperfections. The Stoics understood that no one is perfect, and that striving for perfection is not only unrealistic, but also unnecessary. What matters is that you live in a way that is true to yourself, that you embrace your strengths while also acknowledging and working on your weaknesses. This acceptance is not about complacency. It's about understanding that your worth is not diminished by your flaws. When you live authentically, you also begin to trust yourself more. You develop a sense of inner integrity, a confidence that comes from knowing that you are living in alignment with your true self. This trust is crucial because it allows you to navigate life's challenges with greater resilience. You are less likely to be shaken by criticism or rejection because you know that you are living according to your values, not someone else's. Another key aspect of embracing your true nature is the ability to stand firm in your beliefs and values, even when it's difficult. The Stoics were known for their unwavering commitment to their principles, even in the face of adversity. This kind of integrity is a cornerstone of authenticity. It means that you don't compromise who you are for the sake of convenience or acceptance. You stand up for what you believe in, even when it's not popular or easy. This kind of authenticity can be challenging, especially in a world that often rewards conformity. But the Stoics believed that the rewards of living authentically far outweigh the challenges. When you live in alignment with your true self, you experience a sense of fulfillment and purpose that is deeply satisfying. You are no longer living to please others or to meet their expectations. You are living for yourself in a way that is true to who you are. One of the most powerful aspects of authenticity is that it allows you to connect more deeply with others. When you are true to yourself, you attract people who appreciate you for who you really are. These relationships are more meaningful and fulfilling because they are based on genuine connection rather than on superficial appearances or shared pretenses. Authenticity breeds trust, and trust is the foundation of any strong relationship. When you live authentically, you also give others permission to do the same. Your courage to be yourself inspires others to embrace their true nature as well. This ripple effect of authenticity can transform not only your own life, but also the lives of those around you. It creates a community of people who are connected by their commitment to living truthfully and with integrity. Another important aspect of embracing your true nature is the freedom to pursue your passions and interests without fear of judgment. The Stoics believed that each person has a unique set of talents and gifts, and that it is our responsibility to cultivate these gifts and use them to contribute to the world. When you live authentically, you are free to explore what truly excites and fulfills you, rather than what you think you should be doing based on societal expectations. This freedom to pursue your passions is not just about finding a career that you love, though that is certainly important. It's about living a life that is aligned with your deepest values and desires. It's about making choices that reflect who you are and what you believe in, even when those choices are difficult or unconventional. This kind of authenticity requires courage, but it also leads to a life of greater fulfillment and meaning. Living authentically also means being true to your emotions. The Stoics taught that while we should not be ruled by our emotions, we should also not deny them. Embracing your true nature means acknowledging your feelings, understanding them, and allowing them to guide you in a way that is consistent with your values. This emotional honesty is a key component of authenticity, and it allows you to live more fully and more deeply. When you embrace your true nature, you also become more resilient. You are better able to withstand the challenges and setbacks that life inevitably brings because you are grounded in your own identity. You know who you are, and this knowledge gives you the strength to keep going, even when things get tough. This resilience is a natural byproduct of living authentically because it is rooted in the confidence that comes from being true to yourself. Another powerful outcome of embracing your true nature is the sense of inner peace that it brings. When you are no longer trying to be someone you're not, you free yourself from the constant stress and anxiety that comes with living a lie. You can relax into who you are, knowing that you are enough just as you are. This inner peace is a rare and precious gift, and it is one of the most profound rewards of living authentically. Living authentically also means being open to change. The Stoics understood that life is constantly changing and that we must be willing to adapt and grow in response to these changes. Embracing your true nature doesn't mean staying the same forever. It means being true to yourself as you evolve and grow. It means being open to new experiences and new ways of being that are in alignment with your values and your true self. This openness to change is essential for personal growth. When you are true to yourself, you are more willing to take risks, to try new things, and to step outside of your comfort zone. You understand that growth requires change, and you are willing to embrace that change because you know it will bring you closer to your true self. This willingness to grow and evolve is a key aspect of authenticity, and it is what allows you to continue to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. Embracing your true nature is about more than just being yourself. It's about discovering the strength that comes from living authentically. It's about aligning your actions, thoughts, and values with who you truly are and having the courage to live in accordance with that truth, even in the face of external pressure. It's about accepting yourself fully, including your flaws and imperfections, and trusting in your own integrity and worth. It's about pursuing your passions and interests without fear of judgment and connecting with others in a way that is genuine and meaningful. And ultimately, it's about finding the inner peace and resilience that come from living a life that is true to who you are. This is the power of authenticity, and it is a power that can transform your life in ways you never imagined. As you delve deeper into the power of embracing your true nature, a curious truth begins to emerge. Sometimes, the more you let go, the more things seem to come to you. This paradox of indifference, where letting go can lead to renewed interest, is one of the most fascinating aspects of human behavior and Stoic philosophy. Imagine the freedom of no longer holding on tightly to expectations, relationships, or outcomes. Instead, you simply live your life with confidence, knowing that what is meant for you will find its way to you. This idea might seem counterintuitive at first, but it's rooted in a profound wisdom that can transform the way you approach everything in your life. The Stoics understood that attachment often leads to suffering. When we hold on too tightly to something, a person, a dream, a desired outcome, we place our happiness in something outside of our control. This creates a sense of dependency and fear, because if that thing doesn't turn out the way we hope, we feel lost or broken. But when we practice indifference, we free ourselves from this emotional bondage. We no longer live in constant anxiety about losing what we cherish or not getting what we desire. Letting go of your tight grip on outcomes brings a liberating sense of peace. You still care deeply, but you're no longer consumed by the need for things to unfold in a specific way, freeing yourself from the weight of expectations. This is the paradox. By releasing your attachment, you create space for things to naturally flow into your life. The energy shifts from one of desperation to one of ease, and this shift is often what attracts renewed interest from others. When you stop chasing after things, you become more attractive, more magnetic. People are drawn to those who seem to be at peace with themselves, who aren't desperately trying to control everything around them. This kind of indifference is not about being cold or distant. It's about having the confidence and inner security to know that your worth isn't tied to any particular outcome. Consider how this paradox plays out in relationships. When you stop trying to force someone to see your value or to stay in your life, you often find that they become more interested in you. It's as if the act of letting go signals to them that you are secure in who you are and that you don't need their approval to feel complete. This confidence is incredibly appealing because it's so rare. Most people are used to others clinging to them, seeking validation and reassurance. When they encounter someone who is different, someone who is happy on their own, they can't help but be intrigued. The Stoics believed that the only things we can truly control are our own thoughts, actions, and attitudes. Everything else is beyond our control, and to become overly attached to these things is to set ourselves up for disappointment. When you practice indifference, you align yourself with this truth. You focus on what you can control, how you live your life, how you treat others, how you pursue your goals, and you let go of the need to control how others respond or how situations unfold. This shift in focus brings a sense of calm and clarity. You are no longer caught up in the endless cycle of trying to make things happen in a specific way. Instead, you are free to live your life fully, knowing that you are doing your best and that whatever happens beyond that is out of your hands. This kind of detachment allows you to be more present, more engaged in the moment, because you are not constantly worrying about the future or regretting the past. Another powerful aspect of the paradox of indifference is that it often leads to better outcomes than if you had tried to force things to happen. When you are not attached to a specific result, you are more open to opportunities and possibilities that you might not have considered otherwise. You are more flexible, more adaptable, and this openness allows you to navigate life's twists and turns with greater ease. People are drawn to this kind of flexibility and openness because it shows that you are confident and secure in yourself. You are not rigidly attached to one path or one outcome, and this makes you more interesting and more attractive to others. They sense that you are someone who can handle whatever comes your way, and this resilience is deeply appealing. Letting go also allows you to conserve your energy. When you are not expending all your mental and emotional resources on trying to control the uncontrollable, you have more energy to focus on what truly matters. You can invest more in your own growth, in your relationships, and in your passions. This renewed focus and energy often lead to greater success and fulfillment because you are no longer scattered or drained by the effort of holding on too tightly. In relationships, this can mean the difference between pushing someone away and drawing them closer. When you are not constantly seeking validation or reassurance from others, you become a more stable and secure presence in their lives. They feel more comfortable around you because they know that you are not depending on them for your happiness. This creates a healthier dynamic where both people can be themselves without feeling pressured to meet the other's expectations. The paradox of indifference also teaches you the importance of self-respect. When you let go of trying to control others or to make them see your worth, you are making a powerful statement. You are saying that your self-worth is not dependent on their validation. This kind of self-respect is magnetic because it shows that you value yourself enough to walk away from situations that don't serve you. It's a quiet confidence that speaks volumes, and it often leads to others viewing you with renewed respect and admiration. Another aspect of this paradox is that it helps you develop a sense of trust in yourself, in others, and in the process of life. When you let go, you are essentially saying that you trust things to unfold as they are meant to, and that you will be okay no matter what happens. This trust is not about being passive or resigned. It's about having faith in your own ability to handle whatever comes your way. This sense of trust allows you to live more freely, without the constant worry and anxiety that come from trying to control everything. As you practice this indifference, you might find that people and opportunities start coming to you in unexpected ways. This is the paradox at work. By letting go, you create a space for things to naturally gravitate toward you. It's as if the universe recognizes that you are no longer trying to force things to happen, and so it responds by bringing you what you need, often in ways that are better than you could have imagined. This doesn't mean that you stop caring or that you become detached from your goals and dreams. It means that you care from a place of strength, not from a place of neediness. You still pursue what you want, but you do so with the understanding that your happiness and self-worth are not tied to any particular outcome. This kind of detachment is liberating because it allows you to enjoy the journey, rather than being fixated on the destination. The paradox of indifference also teaches you about the power of boundaries. When you let go of trying to control others, you naturally start to establish healthier boundaries in your relationships. You no longer allow others to dictate your happiness or self-worth. You respect yourself enough to say no when something doesn't align with your values or your well-being. These boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about creating a space where you can thrive and where others can respect you for who you are. In turn, these boundaries often lead to stronger, more respectful relationships. When others see that you value yourself and that you are not willing to compromise your integrity, they are more likely to respect you and to value the relationship as well. This mutual respect creates a solid foundation for connection and trust, and it often leads to deeper and more meaningful interactions. Letting go also allows you to embrace uncertainty. The Stoics taught that life is full of uncertainty and that we should learn to accept it rather than resist it. When you let go of the need to control everything, you become more comfortable with the unknown. You learn to navigate life's uncertainties with grace and resilience, knowing that you are strong enough to handle whatever comes your way. This acceptance of uncertainty is incredibly freeing because it allows you to live more fully in the present moment. This presence is another aspect of the paradox of indifference that attracts renewed interest. When you are fully present in your life, without being consumed by worries about the future or regrets about the past, you radiate a kind of calm and centeredness that others find deeply appealing. People are drawn to those who are fully engaged in the moment, who are not distracted by their own anxieties or preoccupations. This presence makes you more approachable, more interesting, and more enjoyable to be around. The paradox of indifference also invites you to embrace the idea of impermanence. The Stoics believed that everything in life is temporary, and that we should learn to appreciate things for what they are, rather than trying to hold on to them forever. When you let go of your attachment to outcomes, you begin to appreciate the beauty of the present moment, knowing that it is fleeting. This appreciation brings a sense of peace and contentment because you are no longer fighting against the natural flow of life. This acceptance of impermanence also makes you more resilient in the face of loss or change. When you are not attached to things staying the same, you are better able to adapt to life's inevitable changes. This adaptability is another aspect of the paradox that attracts renewed interest. People are drawn to those who can handle change with grace and who are not easily thrown off course by life's ups and downs. This resilience makes you a stronger, more attractive presence in the lives of others. The paradox of indifference teaches us that by letting go, we can often gain more than we ever imagined. When we release our attachment to outcomes, relationships, and the need for control, we create a space for things to flow naturally into our lives. This shift from desperation to ease, from neediness to confidence, is incredibly powerful. It allows us to live more fully, to connect more deeply, and to attract renewed interest from others. By embracing this paradox, we can find a new sense of freedom, resilience, and fulfillment, and we can discover that what is meant for us will find its way to us in ways that are better than we could have planned. As you navigate through the paradox of indifference and the powerful freedom that comes with letting go, a deeper truth begins to surface. True confidence doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. Imagine living a life where your self-worth isn't tied to what others think of you, where you no longer seek approval or validation from the world around you. This is the essence of self-mastery, a state where your confidence is rooted in your own inner strength and integrity. But how do you achieve this level of self-assurance in a world that constantly pushes you to seek external validation? The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, offer profound practices that can guide you on this path to inner confidence, where you become the master of your own destiny, unshaken by the opinions of others. The journey to self-mastery begins with understanding that external validation is fleeting and unreliable. When you depend on others to define your worth, you place your happiness and sense of self in something that is constantly changing, something beyond your control. The Stoics believed that true confidence comes from focusing on what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your reactions. By turning inward and cultivating a deep sense of self, you free yourself from the need for others to approve of you. The strength that arises from knowing your worth without needing anyone else's validation fills you with unshakable confidence and inner power. This kind of confidence is unshakable because it's not dependent on external factors. It's rooted in who you are, in your values, and in the way you live your life. The Stoics taught that by mastering your mind, you can achieve a state of inner peace that remains steady no matter what happens around you. This inner peace is the foundation of true confidence because it allows you to remain calm and composed, even in the face of criticism or rejection. One of the key practices for developing self-mastery is self-discipline. The Stoics believed that by exercising control over your desires and impulses, you could strengthen your character and build inner confidence. This doesn't mean denying yourself pleasure or living a life of strict asceticism. It means being mindful of your choices and making decisions that align with your values and long-term goals, rather than seeking immediate gratification or approval from others. When you practice self-discipline, you learn to prioritize what truly matters to you, rather than being swayed by the opinions or expectations of others. This focus on your own path builds a sense of integrity and self-respect that others can't give you. It's a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are living in alignment with your true self. This integrity becomes a source of strength, allowing you to navigate life with a sense of purpose and direction that is deeply fulfilling. Another important aspect of self-mastery is the ability to control your thoughts. The Stoics taught that our thoughts shape our reality, and that by mastering our thoughts, we can master our emotions and our actions. This means being aware of the negative or self-critical thoughts that can undermine your confidence and replacing them with thoughts that are empowering and constructive. This mental discipline doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice that requires patience and persistence. But over time, as you become more skilled at managing your thoughts, you'll find that your confidence grows. You'll no longer be at the mercy of your mind's negative chatter or the opinions of others. Instead, you'll have the mental clarity and strength to focus on what truly matters to you and to pursue your goals with confidence and determination. The Stoics also believed in the power of reflection as a tool for self-mastery. By regularly taking time to reflect on your thoughts, actions, and decisions, you gain a deeper understanding of yourself and your motivations. This self-awareness is crucial for building inner confidence because it allows you to see where you are living in alignment with your values and where you might need to make adjustments. Reflection helps you to learn from your experiences, both positive and negative, and to grow from them. It's not about dwelling on mistakes or beating yourself up for past failures. It's about using those experiences as opportunities for growth and improvement. This growth mindset is a key component of self-mastery because it shifts your focus from seeking validation from others to seeking growth and self-improvement. As you practice reflection, you also develop a greater sense of self-compassion. The Stoics understood that being too harsh or critical of yourself can be just as damaging as seeking external validation. Self-compassion means recognizing that you are human, that you will make mistakes, and that this is a natural part of the learning process. When you treat yourself with kindness and understanding, you build a stronger, more resilient sense of self-confidence that is not easily shaken by setbacks or criticism. Another powerful practice for developing self-mastery is mindfulness. The Stoics were pioneers of mindfulness long before it became a modern buzzword. They taught the importance of being present, of observing your thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. Mindfulness allows you to create a space between stimulus and response, giving you the freedom to choose how you react to situations rather than being driven by automatic responses. This practice of mindfulness builds inner confidence because it helps you to stay grounded and centered, even in challenging situations. When you are mindful, you are less likely to be reactive or to take things personally. You are able to maintain a sense of calm and composure, even when others are trying to push your buttons or when life doesn't go as planned. This emotional resilience is a hallmark of self-mastery and is key to building lasting confidence. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of living with purpose as a path to self-mastery. They believed that each person has a unique role to play in the world, and that living in accordance with this purpose is essential for a fulfilling life. When you have a clear sense of purpose, you are less likely to be swayed by the opinions or expectations of others. You are more focused, more driven, and more confident in your actions because you know that you are working towards something meaningful. Living with purpose also means setting goals that are aligned with your values and passions. These goals give you direction and motivation, and they help to build your confidence as you work towards achieving them. When you are working towards goals that are meaningful to you, you are less concerned with what others think of you and more focused on your own growth and development. This focus on your own path is a key aspect of self-mastery because it allows you to build confidence from within rather than seeking it from external sources. Another important element of self-mastery is the practice of gratitude. The Stoics believed that cultivating gratitude was essential for a happy and fulfilling life. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have, from seeking validation from others to appreciating the abundance in your life. This shift in perspective builds inner confidence because it helps you to see that you are already enough, that you already have everything you need to be happy and fulfilled. When you practice gratitude, you also develop a sense of contentment that is not dependent on external circumstances. You learn to find joy and fulfillment in the present moment, rather than constantly seeking more or looking for approval from others. This contentment is a powerful source of confidence because it allows you to live with a sense of peace and satisfaction, knowing that you are living in alignment with your true self. The Stoics also taught the importance of resilience as a key component of self-mastery. Life is full of challenges and setbacks, but it is how you respond to these challenges that determines your confidence and your success. Resilience means being able to bounce back from adversity, to learn from your mistakes, and to keep moving forward, no matter what obstacles you face. Resilience builds confidence because it shows you that you are capable of handling whatever life throws your way. It helps you to develop a sense of inner strength and self-assurance that is not easily shaken by external events. When you are resilient, you are less likely to be discouraged by failure or criticism, and more likely to see these experiences as opportunities for growth and improvement. Another powerful practice for developing self-mastery is the discipline of detachment. The Stoics taught that we should strive to be indifferent to things outside of our control, including the opinions and actions of others. This doesn't mean that you don't care about anything. It means that you focus your energy on what you can control, rather than wasting it on things that are beyond your influence. Detachment builds confidence because it frees you from the need for external validation. When you are not attached to the outcome of your actions or to the opinions of others, you are free to act in accordance with your values and to pursue your goals without fear of failure or rejection. This sense of freedom and independence is a key aspect of self-mastery and is essential for building lasting confidence. As you develop self-mastery, you also begin to cultivate a sense of inner peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. The Stoics believed that true peace comes from within, from living in accordance with your values, and from mastering your thoughts and emotions. This inner peace is the foundation of true confidence because it allows you to remain calm and composed, even in the face of life's challenges. When you have mastered yourself, you are no longer at the mercy of external events or the opinions of others. You are in control of your own destiny, and this sense of control gives you the confidence to pursue your goals and to live a life that is true to who you are. This is the ultimate goal of self-mastery, to achieve a state of inner confidence and peace that is unshakable, no matter what happens around you. Self-mastery is the key to achieving true inner confidence. By focusing on what you can control, by practicing self-discipline, mindfulness, and reflection, and by living with purpose and gratitude, you can build a sense of self-assurance that is not dependent on external validation. This inner confidence is the foundation of a fulfilling and meaningful life, and it is the ultimate goal of the Stoic path. As you continue on this journey of self-mastery, you will discover that you are capable of achieving far more than you ever imagined, and that your true power lies within. As you've journeyed through self-mastery and the unshakable confidence that comes from within, another intriguing aspect of human behavior begins to reveal itself: the paradoxical power of absence. Have you ever noticed how the space created by someone's absence often makes their presence more deeply felt? This is not just a romantic notion, but a fundamental truth about human relationships and desires. The Stoics, with their profound understanding of human nature, recognized that sometimes the most powerful way to strengthen bonds and attract attention is through absence. Imagine how stepping back, giving space, and even walking away can create a magnetic pull, drawing others closer to you in ways that presence alone never could. This insight into human behavior offers a unique perspective on relationships and connection, one that challenges our usual instincts and opens the door to deeper understanding. Absence has a mysterious way of heightening appreciation. When something or someone is always present, there is a tendency to take them for granted. The constant availability can dull the senses, making even the most extraordinary qualities seem ordinary. But when that presence is suddenly withdrawn, it creates a void, and in that void, the true value of what was once taken for granted begins to emerge. The Stoics understood this dynamic well, recognizing that absence can serve as a powerful tool to recalibrate the balance in relationships. Consider the common saying, "You don't know what you've got until it's gone." This phrase encapsulates the essence of how absence sharpens the focus on what is truly important. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with distractions and the next new thing, the removal of a familiar presence can create a jarring contrast. It forces a pause, a reflection on what that person or thing meant in the grander scheme of your life. It's in these moments of reflection that appreciation deepens and the heart begins to long for what was lost. Stepping back, not out of spite or manipulation, but from a place of confidence and self-assurance, creates a powerful ripple, one that speaks of inner strength and unwavering certainty in yourself. When you are not constantly available, when you are not always within reach, people begin to miss you. They start to reflect on your value, your presence, and the role you play in their lives. This reflection is what makes the heart grow fonder. It's the space that allows appreciation to deepen. This can be particularly effective in romantic relationships, where constant contact can sometimes lead to complacency. A brief absence, such as taking a trip or spending some time apart, can rekindle the excitement and passion that may have dulled over time. This concept is closely tied to the idea of scarcity. The Stoics believed that we often value things more when they are scarce. When something is abundant, its perceived value diminishes. But when it becomes rare, its worth suddenly increases. This principle applies not just to material possessions, but to relationships as well. By creating a sense of scarcity through absence, you allow others to rediscover your value. Scarcity, in this context, doesn't mean making yourself scarce to manipulate others. It's about understanding the natural rhythms of human interaction. When you give people space, you allow them the opportunity to miss you, to recognize what you bring to their lives. This absence, paradoxically, can make your presence even stronger in their minds. They begin to look forward to your return, and when you do reconnect, the interaction is charged with renewed energy and appreciation. The power of absence also lies in the opportunity it provides for self-reflection. When you step back, you give others the chance to think about their feelings and their relationship with you. In your absence, they may realize the depth of their connection to you, the importance of your presence in their lives. This realization often leads to a renewed appreciation, a stronger desire to reconnect, and a deeper bond. This effect is evident in friendships, where a period of distance can lead to a stronger, more resilient connection when both parties come back together with fresh perspectives. Absence can also create a sense of mystery, which is another powerful aspect of human attraction. When you are not always available, when you allow yourself to be less accessible, it creates curiosity. People begin to wonder about you, to think about where you are and what you're doing. This curiosity can be incredibly compelling, drawing others toward you with a renewed interest. The Stoics understood that sometimes less is more, that by not always being present, you can actually increase your presence in the minds of others. Mystery is an essential element of attraction, both in romantic relationships and beyond. When people feel like they have figured you out completely, the intrigue can fade. Absence introduces an element of the unknown, which keeps others interested and engaged. They begin to wonder what you're thinking, what you're up to, and this sense of mystery can reignite the spark in a relationship that might otherwise become predictable. This is particularly important in long-term relationships, where maintaining that sense of intrigue can be key to sustaining passion and interest over time. Moreover, absence allows both parties in a relationship to grow individually. When you step back, you give yourself and the other person the space to reflect, to pursue individual interests, and to develop independently. This personal growth can strengthen the relationship when you come back together because both of you have had the opportunity to grow and evolve. The time apart allows for self-discovery, which can lead to a more fulfilling and balanced connection. In romantic relationships, this space can be crucial. It allows each person to maintain their sense of self, to pursue their own goals and interests without feeling suffocated by the relationship. When both partners have the freedom to grow individually, they can bring more to the relationship, creating a dynamic that is richer and more complex. This growth also prevents the relationship from becoming stagnant, as both partners continue to evolve and bring new experiences and perspectives to the table. The Stoics also believed in the importance of detachment, not as a way to withdraw from life, but as a way to engage with it more fully. By practicing detachment, you learn to let go of the need to control others or to be constantly involved in their lives. This detachment, when combined with absence, can create a powerful dynamic. It shows that you are confident enough in yourself and your relationship to allow space and distance. This confidence is attractive because it signals that you are not needy or dependent, but rather secure and self-assured. Detachment, in this context, doesn't mean emotional coldness. Instead, it means having a healthy sense of boundaries and recognizing that your happiness and self-worth are not entirely dependent on another person. When you can step back without feeling anxious or insecure, you demonstrate a level of emotional maturity that is highly attractive to others. It shows that you are capable of maintaining a relationship based on mutual respect and trust, rather than on neediness or dependency. Another aspect of why absence makes the heart grow fonder is the way it can rejuvenate relationships. In any long-term connection, whether romantic, familial, or friendship, routines and familiarity can sometimes lead to complacency. Absence disrupts these routines, shaking things up in a way that can reignite the spark. The break from the usual interaction allows for a reset, giving both parties a chance to miss each other and to rekindle the feelings that may have been dulled by routine. This rejuvenation can be particularly powerful in family relationships. Parents, for example, may find that taking a break from the daily routines of family life allows them to return with a renewed sense of appreciation for their children and their roles as caregivers. Similarly, children who spend time away from home, whether at school, on a trip, or living independently, often return with a newfound appreciation for their family and the support they provide. This period of absence allows all parties to gain perspective, to appreciate the value of the relationship, and to reconnect on a deeper level. Absence also fosters a sense of anticipation. When you are not always available, the moments when you do connect become more special, more valued. The anticipation of reconnecting can build excitement and deepen the emotional impact of those interactions. The Stoics would say that this anticipation, combined with the wisdom of detachment, helps cultivate a deeper, more meaningful connection because it is not based on constant contact, but on the quality of the time spent together. Anticipation can be a powerful force in maintaining long-term relationships. The excitement of looking forward to seeing someone after a period of absence can reignite the passion and excitement that might have dulled over time. This anticipation is not just about physical absence, but about creating emotional and psychological space that allows for the relationship to grow and evolve naturally. It encourages both parties to cherish the time they spend together, making each interaction more meaningful and impactful. This dynamic is not limited to romantic relationships. It applies to friendships, family bonds, and even professional relationships. In the workplace, for example, over-reliance on constant presence can lead to burnout and diminishing returns. However, when you step back, when you give yourself and others space, You allow for new ideas, perspectives, and energy to emerge. This can lead to a more productive and harmonious working environment where absence serves as a catalyst for innovation and renewal. In professional settings, taking time away from work, whether through vacations, sabbaticals, or simply stepping back from certain responsibilities, can lead to greater productivity and creativity. When employees have the chance to recharge and reflect, they often return with fresh ideas and renewed energy, which can benefit the entire organization. Similarly, allowing team members the space to develop their skills and pursue their own projects can lead to a more dynamic and innovative work environment. Absence also has a way of testing the strength of a relationship. When you are not around, it becomes clear who truly values you and who does not. The Stoics believed in the importance of surrounding oneself with people who are aligned with your values and who contribute positively to your life. Absence can help reveal who those people are because it shows who is willing to maintain the connection even when you are not constantly present. Testing the strength of a relationship through absence can be enlightening. It can reveal the true nature of the connection, whether it is based on mutual respect and understanding or on convenience and habit. When you step back and give others the space to show their commitment, you often discover who is truly invested in the relationship and who is not. This can be a valuable tool in building stronger, more meaningful connections with those who genuinely care. Furthermore, absence encourages independence and self-reliance. When you step back, you give others the opportunity to stand on their own, to solve their problems, and to navigate their challenges without relying on you. This fosters a sense of independence that can strengthen the relationship because it is no longer based on dependency, but on mutual respect and individual strength. The Stoics valued this kind of independence, seeing it as essential for a balanced and healthy relationship. Encouraging independence in relationships can lead to greater mutual respect and a more balanced dynamic. When both parties have the space to grow and develop independently, they can bring more to the relationship, creating a stronger and more resilient bond. This independence also prevents codependency, where one person relies too heavily on the other for their sense of self-worth and identity. By fostering independence, both individuals can maintain a healthy sense of self while still being deeply connected. The concept of absence also ties into the Stoic idea of appreciating what you have before it is gone. The awareness that absence can happen at any time encourages people to cherish their relationships and to not take them for granted. This mindfulness, this appreciation of the present, is a key Stoic principle. By recognizing that nothing is permanent, you learn to value what you have more deeply, and this in turn strengthens your connections. Appreciating what you have before it is gone is a fundamental aspect of living a fulfilling life. The Stoics taught that everything is temporary and that we should strive to live in the present, fully appreciating the people and experiences that we have in our lives. This awareness can lead to a deeper sense of gratitude and a stronger commitment to nurturing relationships, knowing that they will not last forever. Absence also plays a role in personal development. When you take time away from others, you have the opportunity to focus on your own growth, to reflect on your life, and to work on becoming the best version of yourself. This self-improvement not only benefits you, but also enhances your relationships. When you return after a period of absence, you bring new perspectives, insights, and energy to the relationship, which can deepen the connection and make it more fulfilling. Personal development is an ongoing process, and taking time away from relationships can be a valuable part of that process. It allows you to reflect on your own needs, goals, and values, and to work on areas of your life that may need attention. When you return to the relationship, You bring with you a renewed sense of purpose and direction, which can enhance the connection and lead to a more fulfilling partnership. The Stoics would also point out that absence teaches patience, a virtue they held in high regard. In a world that often demands instant gratification, learning to be patient and to appreciate the slow unfolding of things can be a powerful lesson. Absence forces both parties to wait, to reflect, and to appreciate the value of patience in building strong, lasting relationships. This patience allows for a deeper understanding and appreciation of the other person, leading to a more enduring connection. Patience is a key virtue in any relationship, and absence can be a valuable teacher in this regard. It teaches both parties to slow down, to appreciate the process of building a relationship, and to value the time they spend together. This patience also allows for a more thoughtful and intentional approach to the relationship, where both individuals take the time to reflect on their feelings and to appreciate the other person more deeply. Another powerful aspect of absence is that it can create a sense of longing, which can be incredibly powerful in strengthening emotional bonds. This longing is not about desperation or neediness, but about the natural human desire to reconnect with someone who is important to you. The Stoics understood that longing can be a healthy and natural part of relationships, one that enhances the emotional depth and intensity of the connection. Longing can be a powerful force in relationships, as it creates a sense of anticipation and excitement that can deepen emotional bonds. This longing is not about desperation or neediness, but about the natural human desire to reconnect with someone who is important to you. It can create a sense of emotional intensity that can enhance the relationship, making it more meaningful and fulfilling. In addition to strengthening emotional bonds, absence also provides an opportunity for renewal. Just as physical rest is necessary for the body to recover and grow stronger, emotional rest can be essential for the health of a relationship. Taking a step back allows both individuals to recharge, to reflect on their relationship, and to come back together with renewed energy and commitment. This renewal is vital for keeping the relationship fresh and vibrant over the long term. Renewal is a crucial aspect of any relationship, as it allows both individuals to recharge and to come back together with renewed energy and commitment. This renewal can prevent the relationship from becoming stagnant, as both individuals continue to evolve and bring new experiences and perspectives to the table. It can also lead to a deeper sense of appreciation and connection, as both individuals have had the time to reflect on their relationship and to come back together with a renewed sense of purpose. Absence can also help clarify priorities. When you step back, you have the space to think about what truly matters to you in a relationship. It allows you to evaluate the connection from a distance, to see things more clearly, and to make decisions that are in alignment with your values and goals. This clarity can lead to more intentional and meaningful interactions when you reconnect, as both parties have had the time to reflect on what they truly want from the relationship. Clarity is a crucial aspect of any relationship, as it allows both individuals to evaluate their connection from a distance and to make decisions that are in alignment with their values and goals. This clarity can lead to more intentional and meaningful interactions when both parties reconnect, as they have had the time to reflect on what they truly want from the relationship. It can also lead to a deeper sense of commitment and purpose, as both individuals are more intentional in their actions and interactions. The Stoics believed that life is full of natural cycles, of ebbs and flows, and that understanding and embracing these cycles is key to living in harmony with the world. Absence is part of this natural cycle in relationships. It allows for a period of reflection, growth, and renewal, followed by a period of reconnection and deepened bonds. By embracing this cycle, rather than resisting it, you can cultivate relationships that are more resilient, more fulfilling, and more deeply rooted in mutual respect and understanding. The concept of absence making the heart grow fonder is not just a cliché. It is a profound truth about human behavior that the Stoics understood well. By stepping back, by allowing space and distance, you create an environment where appreciation, longing, and deeper connection can flourish. Absence allows for reflection, growth, and renewal, both individually and within relationships. It fosters a sense of mystery, anticipation, and gratitude that can deepen emotional bonds and create a more meaningful connection. In embracing the power of absence, you tap into a fundamental aspect of human nature, one that can transform your relationships and lead to a richer, more fulfilling life. As we explore the profound effects of absence and how it deepens connections, it's time to turn our focus to a more challenging aspect of human experience: rejection. If absence makes the heart grow fonder, rejection often feels like it tears the heart apart. Yet, what if rejection could be seen not as a sign of failure, but as an opportunity for growth and empowerment? Imagine transforming the pain of being undervalued into a source of strength and resilience. The Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, teach us that rejection is not the end, but rather a powerful catalyst for becoming stronger, wiser, and more self-assured. How can we learn to thrive after being undervalued? The answer lies in embracing rejection as a tool for self-discovery and personal growth. Rejection stings, no doubt. Whether it's a job you didn't get, a relationship that ended, or an idea that was dismissed, the immediate reaction is often one of hurt, self-doubt, and confusion. It's natural to question your worth when others seem to overlook your value. But the Stoics would argue that the true measure of your worth is not determined by how others perceive you, but by how you perceive yourself and how you choose to respond to life's challenges. This shift in perspective is crucial. It's about moving from external validation to internal validation, from letting others define your value to defining it yourself. The Stoics believed that everything that happens, even rejection, is an opportunity for growth. They taught that life's challenges, including the pain of being undervalued, are not just obstacles to overcome, but tools that shape us into stronger individuals. When faced with rejection, the Stoics would encourage you to see it as a test of your resilience, a chance to prove to yourself that you can rise above adversity. After a rejection, you take a moment to step back, to breathe and reflect, instead of reacting with anger or despair, feeling the calm power of restraint and clarity in that pause. In that moment of reflection, you can begin to see the situation from a different perspective. Instead of focusing on what you lost, you can focus on what you can gain: wisdom, strength, and a deeper understanding of yourself. The Stoics taught that our greatest power lies in our ability to choose our response to life's events. By choosing to see rejection as a lesson rather than a defeat, you reclaim your power and take the first step toward turning that rejection into a source of strength. One of the key teachings of Stoicism is the idea that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. This is particularly relevant when dealing with rejection. You may not be able to control the fact that someone didn't appreciate your work, your love, or your efforts, but you can control how you let that rejection affect you. Do you let it diminish your sense of self-worth, or do you use it as fuel to grow stronger? The Stoics would advise the latter, seeing rejection not as a reflection of your worth, but as an external event that has no power over your inner self unless you allow it to. Rejection, in many ways, is a mirror. It reflects back to us our deepest insecurities, our fears of not being good enough. But it can also reflect our strengths, our resilience, and our ability to persevere. When you face rejection, you are confronted with a choice: To see yourself through the lens of that rejection, or to see yourself through the lens of your true potential. The Stoics believed that the latter is the path to true wisdom and strength. This process of turning rejection into strength begins with self-awareness. It's about recognizing that your value doesn't decrease just because someone else failed to see it. The Stoics would remind you that your worth is inherent, rooted in your character, your values, and your actions, not in the opinions of others. This self-awareness is the foundation of resilience, the inner fortitude that allows you to bounce back from setbacks stronger than before. Imagine viewing each rejection as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. The Stoics would encourage you to see rejection as a necessary part of the journey towards success. It's through rejection that we are often forced to reassess, to refine our approach, and to discover new paths that we might not have considered otherwise. In this way, rejection becomes a catalyst for growth, pushing you to explore your full potential and to reach heights you might never have imagined. The Stoics also taught the importance of detachment, specifically detaching from outcomes that are beyond your control. When you are overly attached to a particular outcome, rejection can feel devastating. But when you approach life with a sense of detachment, understanding that you can only control your actions and not the results, rejection loses its sting. It becomes just another event in the ebb and flow of life, something to learn from, but not something to dwell on. This detachment doesn't mean you stop caring or striving for your goals. It means you do your best, put your heart into your work and relationships, but remain at peace with whatever outcome may come. This mindset allows you to approach challenges with a sense of calm and clarity, knowing that your worth is not tied to a single event or the approval of others. Instead, your worth is tied to your character, your integrity, and your persistence. Rejection also offers an opportunity to cultivate patience and perseverance, virtues highly regarded by the Stoics. In a world that often demands instant success and immediate gratification, rejection teaches the value of persistence, of continuing to move forward even when the road is rough. The Stoics believed that true strength is revealed not in moments of ease, but in moments of challenge. Rejection, then, becomes a proving ground, a place where you can demonstrate your commitment to your goals and your belief in yourself. Consider the stories of great individuals who faced rejection and used it as a stepping stone to greater achievements. History is full of examples: writers whose manuscripts were rejected multiple times before becoming bestsellers, inventors whose ideas were dismissed before changing the world, and leaders who faced countless setbacks before achieving their goals. The Stoics would remind you that these successes were not despite the rejections, but because of them. Each rejection provided an opportunity to refine their approach, to learn, and to grow stronger. In your own life, rejection can serve as a powerful motivator. It can push you to work harder, to refine your skills, and to pursue your goals with even greater determination. The Stoics would encourage you to embrace this process, to see rejection as a necessary part of the path to success. They would remind you that the road to greatness is rarely smooth, and that the obstacles you face are not meant to stop you, but to shape you into the person you are meant to become. Another key aspect of turning rejection into strength is the practice of self-compassion. The Stoics, while often seen as advocates of strict self-discipline, also understood the importance of being kind to oneself. When you face rejection, it's easy to fall into the trap of self-criticism, to blame yourself for not being good enough. But the Stoics would advise against this. They would remind you that everyone faces rejection, that it's a natural part of life, and that it's not a reflection of your worth. Practicing self-compassion means recognizing that you are human, that you are doing your best, and that you deserve kindness and understanding, especially from yourself. This self-compassion is crucial for resilience. It allows you to pick yourself up after a setback, to learn from the experience without being weighed down by guilt or self-doubt. The Stoics believed that true strength comes from within, and that includes the strength to be gentle with yourself in times of difficulty. By treating yourself with compassion, you build the inner resilience needed to face rejection with grace and to turn it into a stepping stone for future success. Another important Stoic practice in dealing with rejection is the concept of viewing events from a broader perspective. The Stoics often use the technique of viewing from above, imagining themselves looking down on their lives from a higher vantage point. This practice helps to put individual events, like rejection, into perspective. From this broader viewpoint, you can see that rejection is just one moment in a much larger journey. It's not the defining moment of your life, but rather a single step along the path. This perspective helps to diminish the emotional impact of rejection, allowing you to see it as a temporary setback rather than a permanent failure. By adopting this broader perspective, you can begin to see rejection as part of the natural ebb and flow of life. The Stoics believed that life is full of ups and downs, and that true wisdom lies in navigating these fluctuations with equanimity. When you view rejection as just one part of the larger tapestry of your life, it becomes easier to move forward, to continue pursuing your goals, and to maintain a sense of inner peace. The Stoics also taught the importance of focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you cannot. This principle is especially relevant when dealing with rejection. You cannot control how others perceive you, whether they value your work or your presence in their lives. But you can control how you respond to that rejection, how you choose to move forward, and how you let it shape you. By focusing on your own actions and your own growth, you take back your power from the rejection and use it as fuel for your own development. Rejection, when viewed through the lens of Stoicism, becomes an opportunity to practice these principles in real life. It's a chance to exercise your resilience, your self-compassion, and your ability to maintain a broader perspective. It's a chance to turn inward, to reflect on your values and your goals, and to recommit to the path you've chosen. In this way, rejection becomes not something to be feared, but something to be embraced as a necessary part of the journey towards self-mastery and success. As you continue to practice these Stoic principles in the face of rejection, you may find that what once seemed like a devastating blow becomes a source of strength and empowerment. You learn to trust in your own abilities, to value yourself independently of others' opinions, and to see rejection as just another step on the path to achieving your goals. This shift in perspective is transformative, allowing you to move through life with a sense of confidence and resilience that is unshakable. Ultimately, the Stoics teach us that rejection is not the end, but a beginning, a chance to grow, to learn, and to become stronger. By embracing rejection and using it as a tool for self-improvement, you can turn what might have been a source of pain and self-doubt into a powerful catalyst for personal growth and success. This is the true power of Stoicism, the ability to transform life's challenges into opportunities for greatness. So, the next time you face rejection, remember the wisdom of the Stoics. See it not as a defeat, but as a challenge to rise above, to grow stronger, and to continue moving forward on the path to becoming the best version of yourself. In this way, rejection becomes not something to fear, but something to embrace as a vital part of your journey toward success and fulfillment. As we've journeyed through the transformative power of turning rejection into strength, there's a deeper truth that begins to emerge, something that binds all these lessons together, the undeniable force of living with virtue. Imagine a life where your actions, decisions, and words are all aligned with your deepest values, where your integrity becomes the cornerstone of everything you do. What if, In a world filled with superficiality and fleeting connections, it is your unwavering commitment to virtue that truly draws people back to you. The Stoics believed that living with virtue was not only the path to personal fulfillment, but also the key to building lasting, meaningful relationships. This final exploration dives into how Stoic integrity, rooted in the core virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, has the power to attract others to you, not through force, but through the quiet, compelling strength of character. Virtue for the Stoics was the highest good, the ultimate goal that guided all other pursuits. They believed that living a virtuous life was the foundation of true happiness and fulfillment. But what makes virtue so powerful in drawing people toward you? The answer lies in the authenticity and trust that naturally emerge when you live in accordance with your values. In a world where many are swayed by external pressures and fleeting desires, those who remain steadfast in their principles stand out. They become beacons of integrity, inspiring trust and respect from others. You walk into a room full of people swayed by trends, quick to compromise their values for temporary gains. Yet, you stand firm, grounded, with your actions unwaveringly aligned with your inner beliefs, a testament to your strength and integrity. This kind of consistency, rooted in virtue, creates an aura of reliability and trustworthiness. People are naturally drawn to those who are genuine, who live their truth without wavering. This doesn't mean you are perfect or never make mistakes, but rather that you approach life with a commitment to doing what is right, regardless of the circumstances. This integrity is magnetic because it is rare and deeply respected. Living with virtue means practicing wisdom in your decisions. Wisdom, for the Stoics, involved seeing the world clearly and making choices that are aligned with reason and moral understanding. When you consistently apply wisdom to your life, you become someone others can rely on for sound advice and fair judgment. Your ability to discern the right course of action, even in difficult situations, sets you apart as someone who can be trusted. People are drawn to this wisdom because it provides a sense of security. They know they can turn to you in times of uncertainty, confident that you will guide them with clarity and fairness. Courage is another key component of living with virtue. The Stoics believed that courage was not just about facing physical danger, but about standing up for what is right, even when it is difficult or unpopular. When you live with courage, you are willing to speak the truth, to defend your principles, and to act with integrity, even in the face of opposition. This kind of moral courage is incredibly powerful. It draws people to you because they see in you a strength that they admire and aspire to. Your courage inspires others to be brave, to stand up for their own beliefs, and to act with integrity in their own lives. Justice, another pillar of Stoic virtue, is about treating others with fairness and respect. When you live justly, you recognize the inherent worth of every person and strive to treat them with the dignity they deserve. This commitment to justice is not just about following the law, but about embodying fairness in all your interactions. When people see that you treat everyone with respect, that you are fair in your dealings, they are naturally drawn to you. They know that they can trust you to be honest, to do what is right, and to stand up for those who are vulnerable. This sense of justice creates a foundation for strong, meaningful relationships because it is built on mutual respect and trust. Temperance, the final Stoic virtue, involves practicing self-control and moderation in all aspects of life. When you live with temperance, you avoid excess and remain balanced in your actions and emotions. This balance is attractive to others because it creates an aura of calm and stability. In a world where many are driven by their passions and desires, those who practice temperance stand out as beacons of self-mastery. People are drawn to your steadiness, to the way you maintain your composure even in challenging situations. Your ability to remain calm and collected inspires others to seek the same balance in their own lives. Living with virtue also means being authentic in all your interactions. Authenticity is about being true to yourself, about aligning your actions with your inner values. When you are authentic, you are not trying to be someone you are not. You are not playing a role to please others. This authenticity is deeply attractive because it resonates with others on a fundamental level. People are drawn to those who are genuine, who live their truth without pretense. Your authenticity creates a sense of connection and trust, making others feel comfortable and valued in your presence. The Stoics also taught that living with virtue involves embracing humility. Humility is about recognizing your own limitations and being open to learning from others. When you approach life with humility, you are willing to listen, to consider other perspectives, and to admit when you are wrong. This humility is attractive because it shows that you are secure enough in yourself to be open to growth and change. People are drawn to your willingness to learn, to your openness to new ideas, and to your ability to admit your mistakes. This humility creates a sense of respect and admiration, drawing others to you because they see in you a model of continuous growth and self-improvement. Living with virtue also involves practicing gratitude. The Stoics believed that gratitude was essential for a fulfilling life. When you live with gratitude, you appreciate what you have and recognize the value in the people and experiences around you. This gratitude is infectious. It creates a positive energy that draws others to you. When people see that you are genuinely grateful, that you appreciate them and the contributions they make, they are more likely to feel valued and connected to you. Your gratitude creates a positive feedback loop, where others are inspired to practice gratitude in their own lives, deepening their connection to you and to others. The power of living with virtue is also evident in how it affects your reputation. The Stoics believed that a good reputation was the natural result of living a virtuous life. When you consistently act with integrity, courage, justice, and wisdom, you build a reputation as someone who can be trusted, someone who is reliable and honorable. This reputation is not something you actively seek. It is the byproduct of living in accordance with your values. People are drawn to those with a strong reputation because they know that they can rely on you to act with integrity even when no one is watching. This trust is the foundation of deep, lasting relationships. Living with virtue also means being resilient in the face of adversity. The Stoics believed that life is full of challenges and that true strength lies in how we respond to those challenges. When you face difficulties with courage and composure, when you maintain your integrity even in the face of hardship, you inspire others. Your resilience shows that you are not easily shaken, that you can handle whatever life throws your way. This resilience is attractive because it creates a sense of stability and security. People know that they can count on you, even in tough times. Your ability to remain steadfast in the face of adversity draws others to you, as they see in you a source of strength and support. Another aspect of living with virtue is the ability to forgive. The Stoics taught that holding on to anger or resentment is harmful to your own well-being, and that forgiveness is a path to inner peace. When you practice forgiveness, you release the hold that negative emotions have on you, allowing you to move forward with a clear mind and a light heart. This forgiveness is attractive to others because it shows that you are not bound by grudges or bitterness. It shows that you are capable of seeing the good in others, even when they have wronged you. This capacity for forgiveness creates a sense of harmony and understanding in your relationships, drawing others to you because they know that you will treat them with compassion and kindness. Living with virtue also involves being generous, not just with material possessions, but with your time, your attention, and your kindness. The Stoics believed that generosity was a reflection of your character, a way to express your values in the world. When you are generous, you give freely without expecting anything in return. This generosity is deeply attractive because it creates a sense of abundance and goodwill. People are drawn to those who are generous because they feel valued and appreciated in your presence. Your generosity creates a positive, uplifting environment that draws others to you and inspires them to be generous in their own lives. Finally, living with virtue means being consistent in your actions. The Stoics believed that consistency was key to living a virtuous life. When you consistently act in accordance with your values, you build trust and respect. People know that they can count on you to do what is right, no matter the circumstances. This consistency creates a sense of reliability that is deeply attractive to others. They know that you will not waver in your principles, that you will stand by your word, and that you will act with integrity in all situations. This reliability draws others to you because it creates a sense of security and trust in your relationships. In conclusion, living with virtue is not just about personal fulfillment. It is also a powerful way to draw people to you. When you live with integrity, courage, wisdom, and justice, you naturally attract others who are inspired by your character and who want to be a part of your life. Your commitment to living a virtuous life creates a sense of trust, respect, and admiration that draws others to you, not through force or manipulation, but through the quiet strength of your character. This is the true power of Stoic integrity, the ability to build deep, meaningful relationships based on mutual respect, trust, and a shared commitment to living a life of virtue. By living with virtue, you not only find fulfillment and peace within yourself, but you also create a positive, uplifting environment that draws others to you and inspires them to live with integrity as well. As we've journeyed through the depths of Stoicism, from understanding the power of self-worth to embracing the paradox of indifference, from turning rejection into strength to living with unshakable virtue, one truth becomes clear. Those who once overlooked you will inevitably find themselves drawn to the strength, confidence, and integrity you've cultivated within. When you stop seeking external validation and start living in alignment with your true nature, you create a magnetic force that cannot be ignored. It's not about proving your worth to others. It's about realizing it for yourself. And in doing so, you attract the kind of respect and admiration that only comes from living authentically and with purpose. Now, I want to hear from you. How has embracing Stoic principles transformed your relationships or your sense of self? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's build a community where we uplift and inspire each other on this path to inner strength. If you found value in this journey, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights and wisdom on living a life of purpose and resilience. Let's continue to grow together, one Stoic principle at a time. Life has a way of teaching us lessons we never asked for, often in ways we never expected. As we go through our days, building relationships, making connections, and putting our trust in others, we inevitably encounter moments of disappointment, surprise, and sometimes deep hurt. These experiences, though painful, are essential parts of our journey. They shape us, mold us, and, if we let them, they can make us wiser and stronger. Have you ever felt the sting of betrayal from someone you once considered a friend? Or maybe you've been surprised by the sudden coldness of someone who once celebrated your victories with you. These moments can leave us questioning everything: our judgment, our trust, and even our own worth. But what if I told you that these experiences, as painful as they may be, are a natural part of life? What if embracing these difficult truths about people could lead to a life of greater clarity, peace, and resilience? We often go through life with a set of expectations about how people should treat us, how relationships should unfold, and how trust should be reciprocated. We expect friends to be loyal, partners to be understanding, and colleagues to be supportive. But life doesn't always work out that way. The truth is, people are complex, and relationships are rarely as simple as we'd like them to be. This complexity is something we all must come to terms with if we are to navigate our lives with grace and strength. Think about the times you've been let down by someone close to you. Maybe a friend didn't show up when you needed them the most, or a partner broke a promise that meant the world to you. The pain of these moments can be overwhelming, leading us to question not only the other person, but also ourselves. We wonder what we did wrong, what we could have done differently, or why we weren't enough. But what if the problem isn't entirely ours to bear? What if understanding the true nature of people can free us from this cycle of self-doubt and disappointment? One of the most difficult but liberating realizations in life is that not everyone will like you, no matter how kind, generous, or caring you are. It's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you're someone who tries to do right by others. But the reality is, we all have different personalities, values, and experiences that shape our interactions. Some people will naturally gravitate toward you, while others may not. And that's okay. The key is not to take it personally. Instead of spending your energy trying to win over those who don't appreciate you, focus on those who do. Surround yourself with people who value you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. Have you ever noticed that some people only seem to be around when they need something from you? It's a harsh truth, but many people are driven by self-interest. This doesn't necessarily make them bad people. It's just a part of human nature. We're all trying to survive and thrive in our own ways, and sometimes this means looking out for our own needs first. Understanding this can help you navigate relationships with more clarity. When you realize that not everyone's intentions are pure or selfless, you can protect your heart and manage your expectations. You can still be kind and generous, but with the wisdom to know when to pull back and take care of yourself. Trust is another fragile element in our relationships. We often think of trust as something that should be given freely, especially to those we care about. But trust is something that must be earned, not just handed out like candy. When we trust too quickly or too easily, we open ourselves up to the possibility of being hurt. It's important to be cautious with your trust, to let people show you through their actions that they are worthy of it. This doesn't mean becoming cynical or distrusting, but rather being mindful and intentional about who you let into your inner circle. People change, and so do relationships. This is perhaps one of the hardest truths to accept, especially when you've built a life around certain people. Friends who once felt like family can grow distant, and relationships that once brought joy can become sources of pain. Change is inevitable, and it can be heartbreaking, but it's also a sign of growth. As we evolve, our needs, desires, and priorities shift, and so do the people we connect with. Embracing this impermanence can help you let go of what no longer serves you and open yourself up to new, enriching experiences. Success, they say, brings out the true colors of those around us. Not everyone will celebrate your victories. In fact, your success might even make some people uncomfortable. Jealousy and competition can rear their ugly heads, sometimes from the most unexpected sources. It's tough to realize that not everyone is rooting for you, but it's also a reminder to stay humble and focused on your own path. Remember that your journey is yours alone, and you don't need the approval of others to validate your achievements. We are all flawed, every single one of us. And while it's easy to spot the flaws in others, it's equally important to recognize and accept our own imperfections. No one is perfect, and expecting perfection from ourselves or others is a recipe for disappointment. By embracing the messiness of being human, we can cultivate deeper connections, built on understanding and compassion rather than judgment and unrealistic expectations. One of the most liberating lessons in life is realizing that you cannot control others' actions, only your own. This truth can be a source of great freedom. When you stop trying to control how others behave, you can focus on what you can control: your responses, your attitude, and your actions. This shift in perspective allows you to reclaim your power and maintain your peace of mind, no matter what others do or say. Lastly, it's inevitable that some people will disappoint you. No matter how much you care for someone or how much you invest in a relationship, there will be times when people let you down. This doesn't mean you should stop caring or stop investing in relationships, but rather that you should learn to manage your expectations and practice forgiveness. Disappointment is a part of life, but it doesn't have to define your relationships. By forgiving others, you free yourself from the weight of resentment and open your heart to healing and growth. As you embark on this journey of understanding these hard truths, remember that each lesson learned is a step toward a stronger, more resilient you. Life will continue to throw challenges your way, but with each challenge comes the opportunity to grow wiser and more self-assured. Accepting these truths about people is not about becoming jaded or losing hope in humanity. Rather, it's about gaining the clarity and strength needed to navigate life's complexities with grace and resilience. Embrace these truths, not as burdens, but as the keys to unlocking a more authentic and fulfilling life. By understanding the nature of people and relationships, you equip yourself with the tools needed to protect your heart, build meaningful connections, and maintain your peace of mind. Life is a journey filled with ups and downs, but by accepting these realities, you can walk your path with confidence, knowing that you are prepared for whatever comes your way. In life, we are often conditioned to believe that if we are kind, generous, and well-meaning, we will naturally be liked by everyone we meet. This belief is deeply ingrained in us from a young age, encouraged by societal norms, cultural expectations, and even the narratives we consume in media and literature. The idea that likability equates to goodness and that being universally liked is a measure of success is pervasive. However, as we grow and experience the complexities of human relationships, we begin to realize that this ideal is not only unattainable, but also misguided. The reality is that not everyone will like you, no matter how hard you try or how virtuous you are. This truth can be difficult to accept, especially for those who derive a sense of worth from external validation. The need to be liked, to be approved of, and to fit in is a powerful motivator for many people, driving them to alter their behavior, suppress their true selves, and conform to the expectations of others. But this constant striving for approval can be exhausting and ultimately unfulfilling. It leads to a life lived for others rather than for oneself, where personal happiness and authenticity are sacrificed on the altar of social acceptance. Understanding that not everyone will like you is not a lesson in cynicism, but rather a call to embrace the diversity of human personalities and experiences. Each person you encounter in life is a unique individual, shaped by their own history, values, preferences, and biases. These factors influence how they perceive the world, and by extension, how they perceive you. It's important to recognize that these perceptions are subjective and often have little to do with your intrinsic worth. Consider, for example, the phenomenon of first impressions. We've all been in situations where we've instantly liked or disliked someone based on a brief interaction or even a single glance. These snap judgments are influenced by a myriad of factors, some conscious, like appearance or body language, and others subconscious, like past experiences or cultural conditioning. The same is true for others when they meet you. Their initial reaction is often a reflection of their own internal world, not a definitive statement about who you are. This understanding can be incredibly liberating. When you accept that not everyone will like you, you begin to free yourself from the relentless need to please others. You can start to focus on being true to yourself, rather than molding your personality to fit the expectations of those around you. This shift in perspective allows you to live more authentically, making choices that align with your values and beliefs, rather than constantly second-guessing yourself in an attempt to gain approval. One of the key benefits of embracing this truth is that it encourages the development of self-confidence. Self-confidence is not about believing that everyone will like you. It's about being secure in who you are, regardless of how others perceive you. When you stop seeking validation from external sources, you begin to build an inner resilience that is not easily shaken by the opinions of others. This resilience is crucial in navigating the inevitable challenges and rejections that come with being human. Another important aspect of accepting that not everyone will like you is the realization that you don't have to like everyone you meet either. This mutual understanding is a cornerstone of healthy relationships. It allows you to interact with a wide range of people without feeling the pressure to form deep connections with everyone. You can appreciate the qualities of others without necessarily wanting to be close to them, and you can maintain a respectful distance from those whose values or behaviors don't resonate with you. This mindset also fosters a more compassionate approach to relationships. When you recognize that others may not like you for reasons that have nothing to do with your worth, it becomes easier to accept differences without taking them personally. You can coexist peacefully with people who don't share your views or who may not be particularly fond of you, without feeling the need to change yourself or them. This acceptance is a form of emotional maturity that leads to more harmonious interactions and reduces unnecessary conflict. In addition to fostering self-confidence and compassion, accepting that not everyone will like you also has practical benefits. It allows you to conserve your energy and focus on the relationships that truly matter. Instead of spreading yourself thin trying to win over everyone, you can invest your time and emotional resources in the connections that are meaningful and reciprocal. This selective approach to relationships leads to deeper, more fulfilling bonds with those who genuinely appreciate you for who you are. Moreover, when you stop trying to please everyone, you open yourself up to the possibility of attracting the right people into your life. Authenticity is magnetic. When you are true to yourself, you naturally draw in those who resonate with your values, interests, and personality. These are the people who will stand by you through thick and thin, who will celebrate your successes and support you in your challenges. In contrast, trying to be everything to everyone often results in shallow relationships that lack the depth and trust needed to withstand life's ups and downs. Another crucial point to consider is the role of social media in shaping our perceptions of likability. In today's digital age, we are constantly bombarded with images of other people's lives, curated to showcase their best moments. This can create a false sense of reality, where we compare ourselves to the highlights of others and feel inadequate when we don't receive the same level of approval or recognition. Social media can amplify the pressure to be liked, as it reduces human interaction to likes, comments, and followers, metrics that can be easily manipulated and do not accurately reflect the quality of our relationships. It's important to remember that social media is not an accurate measure of your worth or likability. The validation you receive online is fleeting and often superficial, based on a carefully constructed image rather than your true self. To find genuine connection and self-worth, you must look beyond the digital realm and focus on the real, unfiltered interactions you have with the people in your life. These are the relationships that truly matter, and they are built on trust, mutual respect, and shared experiences, not on the number of likes you get on a post. Furthermore, the desire to be liked by everyone can lead to a phenomenon known as people-pleasing. People-pleasers often go out of their way to accommodate others, even at the expense of their own needs and well-being. This behavior is driven by a deep-seated fear of rejection and a belief that their worth is dependent on others' approval. While being considerate of others is a positive trait, chronic people-pleasing can lead to burnout, resentment, and a loss of self-identity. To break free from the cycle of people-pleasing, it's essential to set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are about protecting your time, energy, and emotional well-being. When you establish clear boundaries, you communicate your needs and expectations to others, which in turn fosters respect and understanding. Setting boundaries also allows you to prioritize your own needs, ensuring that you have the resources to be your best self in all areas of your life. Another important aspect of accepting that not everyone will like you is learning to deal with rejection. Rejection is an inevitable part of life, whether it comes in the form of a declined job application, a broken relationship, or simply someone not reciprocating your friendship. While rejection can be painful, it is also an opportunity for growth. Each rejection teaches you something about yourself, whether it's a need to develop new skills, to reassess your goals, or to find people who align more closely with your values. One way to cope with rejection is to reframe it as redirection. Instead of seeing rejection as a reflection of your worth, view it as a sign that you are being guided towards something better. This shift in perspective can help you move forward with greater resilience and optimism, knowing that each rejection is bringing you closer to the opportunities and relationships that are truly meant for you. It's also important to cultivate self-compassion when dealing with rejection. Self-compassion involves treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a friend who is going through a difficult time. Instead of beating yourself up over a rejection, acknowledge your feelings of disappointment, but also remind yourself that rejection is a normal part of the human experience. By practicing self-compassion, you can build a stronger sense of self-worth that is not dependent on external validation. In addition to dealing with rejection, accepting that not everyone will like you also involves learning to manage criticism. Criticism, like rejection, can be difficult to handle, especially when it feels unwarranted or unfair. However, not all criticism is negative. Constructive criticism, when delivered with good intentions, can be a valuable tool for personal growth. It can help you identify areas where you can improve, refine your skills, and become a better version of yourself. To effectively manage criticism, it's important to distinguish between constructive and destructive criticism. Constructive criticism is specific, actionable, and focused on helping you grow. Destructive criticism, on the other hand, is often vague, unhelpful, and intended to tear you down rather than build you up. When you receive criticism, take a moment to consider its source and intent. If it's constructive, use it as an opportunity to learn and improve. If it's destructive, try to let it roll off your back and focus on the opinions of those who genuinely care about your well-being. Another key aspect of accepting that not everyone will like you is understanding the concept of personal responsibility. Personal responsibility involves taking ownership of your actions, decisions, and behaviors, rather than blaming others or external circumstances for your problems. When you take responsibility for your life, you empower yourself to make positive changes and create the outcomes you desire. Accepting that not everyone will like you is part of this process. It involves recognizing that you are not responsible for how others perceive you, only for how you choose to show up in the world. You cannot control other people's thoughts, feelings, or actions, but you can control your own. By focusing on what you can control, your attitude, your behavior, and your choices, you can lead a more empowered and fulfilling life. It's also important to acknowledge that not everyone will like you because of the simple fact that people have different tastes and preferences. Just as you have your own likes and dislikes, so do others. This diversity of preferences is what makes life interesting and vibrant. Imagine if everyone liked the same things, had the same opinions, and wanted the same outcomes. Life would be monotonous and dull, with little room for creativity, innovation, or personal growth. When you accept that not everyone will like you, you begin to appreciate the beauty of diversity. You can celebrate the differences that make each person unique without feeling threatened or diminished by them. This mindset fosters a sense of inclusivity and openness, allowing you to build relationships with people from all walks of life, even if you don't always see eye to eye. Another important consideration is that people's opinions of you can change over time. Just because someone doesn't like you now doesn't mean they won't grow to appreciate you in the future. People change, circumstances change, and relationships evolve. By staying true to yourself and maintaining your integrity, you create the possibility for others to see you in a new light as they get to know you better, or as they themselves grow and change. It's also worth noting that sometimes people may not like you because they feel threatened by your strengths or successes. This can be particularly challenging to deal with, as it's easy to internalize their negative reactions and start questioning your own worth. However, it's important to remember that their reactions are more about them than they are about you. They may see in you something they wish they had, or they may be struggling with their own insecurities. In these situations, it's crucial to stay grounded in your own self-worth. Don't dim your light to make others feel more comfortable. Instead, continue to shine, knowing that your success is not a threat to anyone else's. By staying true to yourself, you inspire others to do the same, even if it takes them some time to come around. Finally, accepting that not everyone will like you is an essential part of self-acceptance. Self-acceptance involves embracing all aspects of yourself, including your strengths, weaknesses, and quirks. It means loving yourself as you are, without needing to change to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. When you fully accept yourself, you become less concerned with whether others like you, because you know that your worth is not dependent on their approval. Self-acceptance is a lifelong journey, but it's one that leads to greater peace, happiness, and fulfillment. As you grow in self-acceptance, you begin to attract people who appreciate you for who you truly are, and you find that the opinions of those who don't like you matter less and less. You become more confident, more resilient, and more at ease with yourself and the world around you. Accepting that not everyone will like you is a powerful step toward living a more authentic and fulfilling life. It frees you from the need to seek approval from others, allowing you to focus on being true to yourself. It fosters self-confidence, compassion, and resilience, helping you navigate the complexities of human relationships with greater ease. By embracing this truth, you open yourself up to deeper, more meaningful connections with those who genuinely appreciate you, and you find greater peace and happiness in being exactly who you are. As we move forward, having accepted the reality that not everyone will like you, we delve into another profound truth about human nature, one that can be equally challenging to grasp, but is crucial for understanding the dynamics of our relationships. It's a truth that, once understood, can change the way you see the world and the people around you. Have you ever wondered why people sometimes act in ways that seem selfish or self-centered, even when you've given them your best? The answer lies in the core of human motivation. People are inherently self-interested. This isn't a criticism, but rather an observation of a fundamental aspect of human nature that, when fully understood, can help you navigate life with greater clarity and resilience. Understanding that people are primarily motivated by their own self-interest is not about painting humanity in a negative light. Instead, it's about recognizing that every individual has their own needs, desires, and priorities that drive their actions. From the moment we are born, our survival instincts kick in, guiding us to seek what we need to thrive, whether it's food, safety, love, or recognition. This drive for self-preservation and self-fulfillment is deeply ingrained in all of us, influencing everything from our smallest daily decisions to the most significant life choices. Consider the relationships in your life, whether they be with friends, family, colleagues, or even strangers. Each person in your life is motivated by their own set of interests, and these interests often dictate how they interact with you. For example, a friend might be supportive and caring because it aligns with their desire to maintain a close, reliable friendship. A colleague might go out of their way to help you because it benefits the team and, in turn, enhances their own standing within the organization. Even acts of kindness and generosity, which we often view as selfless, can stem from a place of self-interest, such as the desire to feel good about oneself, to be seen positively by others, or to fulfill a personal value. This realization can be both enlightening and disheartening. On one hand, it helps explain why people sometimes behave in ways that seem selfish or ungrateful. When you understand that their actions are driven by their own motivations, it becomes easier to navigate conflicts, disappointments, and misunderstandings. On the other hand, it can be disheartening to realize that even those closest to you are, at their core, looking out for themselves first. But rather than seeing this as a negative, it's more helpful to view it as a natural aspect of human behavior, one that you too share. Recognizing self-interest in others does not mean you have to become cynical or distrustful. Instead, it can lead to a deeper empathy and understanding of why people act the way they do. When you see someone acting in their own self-interest, rather than jumping to conclusions or feeling betrayed, you can pause and consider what might be driving their behavior. This perspective shift allows you to respond with more compassion and less judgment, understanding that they are simply navigating life with the same motivations that guide us all. Moreover, understanding self-interest can empower you to set clearer boundaries in your relationships. When you know that people are primarily motivated by their own needs, you can be more intentional about protecting your own. It's important to recognize that while it's natural for others to act in their own self-interest, it's equally important for you to prioritize your well-being. This means setting boundaries that prevent you from being taken advantage of or sacrificing too much of yourself for the sake of others. By acknowledging and respecting your own needs, you can create healthier, more balanced relationships. Self-interest also plays a significant role in how people approach opportunities and challenges in life. In any given situation, most people will weigh the pros and cons based on how it impacts them personally. This decision-making process is often subconscious, guided by an internal calculation of what will bring the most benefit or the least harm to themselves. This is why you might notice that people tend to gravitate toward situations that offer them the greatest reward, whether it's financial gain, social status, or personal satisfaction. Understanding this aspect of human motivation can be particularly useful in professional settings. In the workplace, for instance, colleagues and superiors may make decisions that seem to benefit themselves at the expense of others. This is not necessarily a sign of malice, but rather an indication that they are acting in accordance with their own self-interest, seeking to advance their careers, protect their positions, or achieve their goals. By recognizing this, you can navigate office politics with greater awareness and avoid taking actions that might be detrimental to your own professional growth. In personal relationships, self-interest often manifests in how people manage their time, energy, and resources. For example, a friend who consistently cancels plans might be prioritizing their own need for rest or solitude over the commitment they made to you. A partner who seems distant may be focused on their own challenges or goals, even if they don't fully communicate this to you. These actions, while potentially hurtful, are not necessarily a reflection of their feelings toward you, but rather an indication that they are attending to their own needs. This doesn't mean that you should accept all behaviors as inevitable or excusable. Rather, it's about understanding the root of these actions and responding in a way that protects your well-being. If someone's self-interested behavior consistently impacts you negatively, it's important to address it directly and assert your own needs. Clear communication and mutual respect are key to maintaining healthy relationships, where both parties feel valued and understood. Self-interest is also a driving force behind the choices people make regarding their personal growth and development. Individuals often pursue education, career opportunities, and personal goals based on what they believe will bring them the greatest fulfillment. This is why people might choose to relocate for a job, invest in further education, or make lifestyle changes that align with their vision of success. These decisions, while deeply personal, can sometimes strain relationships, especially if those close to them feel left behind or unsupported. When you understand that people are driven by their own aspirations and desires, it becomes easier to support them in their journey, even if it means making sacrifices or adjustments on your part. However, it's also crucial to recognize when someone's pursuit of self-interest conflicts with your own needs or values. In such cases, honest conversations and compromise are essential to finding a balance that respects both parties' goals. One of the most challenging aspects of accepting self-interest as a fundamental human motivation is reconciling it with the desire for genuine connection and love. Love, at its core, is often seen as a selfless act, putting another's needs before your own, making sacrifices for the well-being of your partner, and prioritizing the relationship above all else. However, even in love, self-interest plays a significant role. People enter and stay in relationships because they fulfill certain emotional, physical, or psychological needs. Whether it's the desire for companionship, the need for security, or the pursuit of shared goals, self-interest is often at the heart of why we choose to love and be loved. This understanding can deepen your appreciation of love and relationships. Instead of viewing self-interest as a barrier to love, you can see it as a natural part of what makes relationships work. By recognizing the needs that both you and your partner bring to the table, you can work together to create a relationship that satisfies both of your self-interests while fostering mutual respect and care. This approach leads to a healthier, more balanced partnership where both individuals feel valued and fulfilled. In friendships, self-interest can also shape the dynamics of the relationship. Friends often bond over shared interests, values, and goals, which align with their own self-interest. However, as life circumstances change, these alignments can shift, leading to changes in the friendship. For example, a friendship that was once close and supportive might become distant as one person pursues new interests or goals that no longer align with the others. This doesn't necessarily mean the friendship has failed, but rather that both individuals are following their own paths, which may no longer intersect as they once did. Understanding this can help you navigate the natural ebb and flow of friendships without taking changes personally. It allows you to appreciate the role that self-interest plays in the relationship and to recognize when it's time to let go or adjust your expectations. This perspective also enables you to maintain a sense of gratitude for the time and experiences you shared, even as you move on to new connections that better align with your current self-interests. Another important aspect of self-interest is its role in how people manage conflict. In any disagreement, individuals are often motivated by a desire to protect their own interests, whether it's their pride, their beliefs, or their position. This is why conflicts can escalate when both parties are focused on defending their own needs without considering the other's perspective. However, when you recognize that self-interest is at play, you can approach conflicts with a more strategic and empathetic mindset. Instead of engaging in a battle of wills, you can seek to understand the underlying motivations driving the other person's behavior. By identifying what they are trying to protect or achieve, you can find common ground and work toward a resolution that respects both parties' interests. This approach not only diffuses tension, but also strengthens the relationship by fostering mutual understanding and respect. In a broader societal context, self-interest influences everything from political decisions to economic policies. Leaders and policymakers often act in ways that protect their own power, influence, or financial interests, sometimes at the expense of the greater good. This is why it's essential to stay informed and critical of the motivations behind the decisions that affect your life. By understanding the role of self-interest in these decisions, you can become a more engaged and informed citizen, advocating for policies and leaders that align with the collective interest rather than just the interests of a few. Self-interest also plays a significant role in how people approach altruism and philanthropy. While these acts are often seen as selfless, they are frequently motivated by a desire to feel good about oneself, to gain social recognition, or to fulfill a personal value or belief. This doesn't diminish the positive impact of altruistic actions, but it does highlight the complex interplay between self-interest and selflessness. Understanding this can help you approach your own acts of kindness and generosity with a clearer sense of purpose, knowing that it's okay to feel good about doing good. Ultimately, recognizing self-interest as a fundamental aspect of human motivation allows you to navigate life with greater clarity and resilience. It helps you understand why people act the way they do, reducing the likelihood of feeling betrayed, disappointed, or taken advantage of. It also empowers you to prioritize your own needs and well-being, ensuring that you don't sacrifice yourself in the pursuit of pleasing others. As you continue to embrace this understanding, you will find that your relationships become more balanced, your interactions more intentional, and your life more aligned with your true values and goals. You will be better equipped to protect yourself from those who might seek to take advantage of your kindness, while also fostering deeper connections with those who share your values and respect your boundaries. Understanding that people are inherently self-interested is a powerful tool for navigating the complexities of human relationships. It allows you to approach life with a greater sense of empathy, self-awareness, and resilience, knowing that self-interest is not inherently bad, but rather a natural part of what drives us all. By embracing this truth, you can create a life that is more authentic, fulfilling, and aligned with your true self, while also building stronger, more meaningful connections with those around you. As we continue to peel back the layers of understanding human nature, the realization that people are inherently self-interested leads us to another critical truth, one that strikes at the very core of how we build and maintain our relationships. Trust is the foundation of any meaningful connection, yet it is something that must be earned, not given freely. Have you ever felt the sting of betrayal from someone you trusted too quickly? Or perhaps you've been caught off guard by the realization that someone you thought you could rely on wasn't as dependable as you believed. These experiences, though painful, are essential reminders of the importance of caution when it comes to trust. Trust is often seen as the glue that holds relationships together, whether they are personal, professional, or social. It's the invisible thread that connects people, allowing them to rely on each other, share their vulnerabilities, and build something meaningful together. However, trust is also incredibly fragile. It takes time to build, yet it can be shattered in an instant. This is why it's crucial to understand that trust should not be given freely or lightly. Instead, it should be earned through consistent actions, honesty, and mutual respect. When we rush to trust someone without fully understanding their character, we leave ourselves vulnerable to disappointment and betrayal. This is not to say that we should approach every relationship with suspicion, but rather that we should be mindful of how and when we place our trust in others. Trust is not something that should be given simply because someone seems nice or because they say the right things. It should be based on a proven track record of reliability, integrity, and genuine care. Consider the relationships in your life where trust has been strong and unwavering. These are likely relationships where both parties have consistently shown up for each other, honored their commitments, and communicated openly. Trust in these relationships has been built over time through shared experiences and a mutual understanding of each other's values and boundaries. On the other hand, think about the times when trust was broken. Perhaps someone made promises they didn't keep, or they acted in a way that contradicted their words. These moments of betrayal often stem from placing trust in someone who hadn't fully earned it. The importance of earning trust becomes even more apparent in the context of new relationships. Whether it's a new friendship, a romantic relationship, or a professional partnership, the early stages are crucial for establishing the foundation of trust. In these initial interactions, it's important to observe how the other person behaves in different situations. Are they consistent in their actions and words? Do they show respect for your boundaries? Are they transparent and honest, even when the truth is uncomfortable? These are the signs that indicate whether someone is trustworthy or if they are simply putting on a facade. One of the key factors in earning trust is consistency. Consistency in behavior, communication, and values is what reassures us that someone is reliable. It's not enough for someone to do the right thing once or twice. Trust is built when they demonstrate that they can be counted on repeatedly over time. This is why it's important to give relationships the time they need to develop naturally. Rushing to trust someone before they've had the chance to prove their consistency can lead to disappointment and hurt. Another important aspect of earning trust is honesty. Honesty is the cornerstone of any relationship, and without it, trust cannot thrive. When someone is honest with you, even about difficult or uncomfortable topics, it shows that they respect you enough to be truthful. This doesn't mean that trust requires brutal honesty at all times, but rather a commitment to transparency and integrity. If someone is willing to be honest with you, even when it might not be in their immediate self-interest, it's a strong indication that they value your relationship and are worthy of your trust. However, it's also important to recognize that honesty is not just about telling the truth, but also about being open and vulnerable. Trust grows when people feel safe enough to share their true selves with each other, without fear of judgment or rejection. This kind of openness requires courage, as it means exposing your vulnerabilities and taking the risk that the other person will honor that trust. When both parties are willing to be open and vulnerable, it creates a deeper, more authentic connection that strengthens trust. Mutual respect is another critical component of earning trust. Respect in a relationship means valuing the other person's boundaries, opinions, and feelings. It means treating them with kindness and consideration, even when you disagree or when things get tough. When someone consistently shows respect for you, it reinforces the idea that they are trustworthy and that they value the relationship. On the flip side, a lack of respect, whether it's through dismissive behavior, belittling comments, or disregard for your boundaries, can quickly erode trust and damage the relationship. In professional settings, the importance of earning trust is especially evident. Colleagues and business partners need to be able to rely on each other to fulfill their roles, meet deadlines, and maintain the integrity of their work. Trust in these environments is often built through a combination of competence, reliability, and clear communication. When someone consistently delivers on their promises and communicates openly about challenges or changes, it fosters a sense of trust that allows the team or partnership to function effectively. On the other hand, when someone fails to meet their commitments or withholds important information, it can undermine trust and create an atmosphere of suspicion and insecurity. In personal relationships, the process of earning trust is more nuanced, as it involves not only reliability and honesty, but also emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy is the sense of closeness and connection that comes from sharing your innermost thoughts, feelings, and experiences with someone. It's what allows you to feel understood and supported, and it's a vital part of building trust. However, emotional intimacy takes time to develop, and it requires both parties to be willing to open up and be vulnerable with each other. When someone consistently shows that they are willing to be emotionally present and supportive, it helps to build a foundation of trust that can weather the challenges and changes that life inevitably brings. One of the biggest challenges in earning trust is dealing with past experiences of betrayal. If you've been hurt or betrayed in the past, it can be difficult to trust again, even when someone is genuinely trustworthy. These past wounds can create a barrier that makes it hard to open up and give someone the chance to earn your trust. In these situations, it's important to recognize that while it's natural to be cautious, it's also necessary to allow yourself the possibility of trusting again. This doesn't mean rushing into trust, but rather giving yourself and the other person the time and space needed to build a relationship based on mutual respect and understanding. Earning trust is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. It requires consistent effort and attention to maintain, even in established relationships. Trust can be easily damaged by thoughtless actions, broken promises, or a lack of communication. This is why it's important to remain vigilant and committed to the behaviors that foster trust in your relationships. Apologizing sincerely when you've made a mistake, keeping your promises, and staying true to your values are all ways to continually earn and reinforce trust. At the same time, it's important to recognize that trust is a two-way street. While you may be cautious about who you trust, it's also essential to be someone who others can trust. This means being reliable, honest, and respectful in your interactions, and consistently demonstrating that you are worthy of the trust others place in you. By embodying these qualities, you not only strengthen your relationships, but also create an environment where trust can flourish. It's also worth noting that while trust is essential in relationships, it's not always necessary to fully trust everyone in your life. Different relationships require different levels of trust. For example, you might trust a close friend with your deepest secrets, but only trust a colleague with work-related matters. Understanding the appropriate level of trust for each relationship can help you manage your expectations and protect yourself from potential disappointment. Furthermore, it's important to be aware of the signs that someone may not be trustworthy. These signs can include inconsistencies between their words and actions, a tendency to make promises they don't keep, or a pattern of dishonesty or manipulation. If you notice these red flags, it's important to address them directly and reassess the level of trust you are willing to place in that person. In some cases, It may be necessary to distance yourself from the relationship if it becomes clear that trust cannot be established or maintained. Learning to trust cautiously also means being aware of your own biases and assumptions. Sometimes, we may be quick to trust someone because they remind us of someone else we trusted in the past, or because they fit a certain image we have of a trustworthy person. However, these assumptions can lead us to overlook important signs that someone may not be as trustworthy as they appear. It's important to take the time to get to know someone for who they truly are, rather than relying on superficial impressions. In relationships where trust has been broken, rebuilding it is a challenging but not impossible task. Rebuilding trust requires both parties to be willing to work through the issues that led to the breach and to commit to making the changes necessary to restore trust. This process often involves open and honest communication, a willingness to take responsibility for one's actions, and a commitment to rebuilding the relationship from the ground up. It's important to be patient and realistic about the time and effort required to rebuild trust, and to recognize that it may not always be possible to fully restore the relationship to its previous state. Trust is a powerful and precious thing, but it's also something that must be earned through consistent and genuine effort. By being mindful of who you trust, how you trust, and the ways in which trust is built and maintained, you can protect yourself from unnecessary hurt and disappointment, while also fostering deeper and more meaningful relationships. Remember that trust is not about blindly placing your faith in others, but about recognizing and respecting the process by which trust is earned and upheld. As you continue to navigate your relationships, keep in mind that trust is both a gift and a responsibility. It's something that should be given with care and earned with integrity. By approaching trust with caution and intention, you can build relationships that are strong, resilient, and grounded in mutual respect and understanding. As we move from understanding the delicate nature of trust, we step into another profound truth that shapes our lives and relationships: the inevitability of change. Just as trust must be earned and nurtured, so too must we recognize that people change, and with them, our relationships evolve. Have you ever looked back at a friendship or a relationship that once felt unbreakable, only to realize that it has drifted apart? Perhaps you've felt the sting of someone you were close to becoming distant, or maybe you've experienced the gradual fading of feelings you once thought would last forever. These experiences, though painful, are part of the natural rhythm of life. Embracing the impermanence of connections can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the people we share our lives with. Change is one of the few constants in life. As individuals, we are always growing, learning, and adapting to the world around us. Our experiences, both good and bad, shape who we are and how we see the world. This continuous process of change inevitably affects our relationships, which are essentially living, evolving entities formed by the interactions between changing people. Just as we change over time, so too do our connections with others. In the beginning of any relationship, there is often a sense of excitement and discovery. Whether it's a new friendship, a budding romance, or a partnership in work, the early stages are filled with promise and possibility. During this time, it's easy to believe that the bond you share will remain as strong and vibrant as it is in those first moments. However, as time passes, both you and the other person will inevitably change. These changes might be subtle: a shift in interests, a new job, or a different life circumstance. Or they might be more profound, such as a change in values, beliefs, or priorities. As these changes occur, the dynamics of the relationship will also shift. One of the most challenging aspects of navigating changing relationships is the feeling of loss that can accompany it. When someone who was once close becomes distant, or when a relationship that once brought joy now feels strained, it's natural to feel a sense of grief. This grief isn't just about the relationship itself, but also about the loss of the person you once knew, the person you were when the relationship was strong, and the shared experiences that now seem like they belong to a different time. However, it's important to recognize that change is not inherently negative. In fact, change can be a sign of growth, both for individuals and for relationships. As you and those around you grow and evolve, your relationships will also have the opportunity to grow in new and different ways. Embracing change means allowing relationships to adapt to new circumstances rather than clinging to the past or resisting the natural flow of life. This doesn't mean that all relationships will survive these changes, but rather that those that do will be stronger and more resilient for having weathered them. Another important aspect of accepting the impermanence of relationships is understanding that not all relationships are meant to last forever. Some connections are only meant to be in our lives for a season, serving a specific purpose during that time. This could be a friendship that provides support during a difficult period, a mentor who guides you through a particular phase of your career, or a romantic relationship that helps you learn more about yourself and what you want in a partner. These relationships, while temporary, can have a profound impact on your life, and their value is not diminished by their impermanence. It can be difficult to let go of relationships that no longer serve you, especially when there is a deep emotional connection or a long history involved. However, holding on to a relationship that has run its course can prevent both parties from moving forward and finding new connections that are more aligned with who they are now. Letting go with grace and gratitude allows you to honor the relationship for what it was, without being weighed down by what it no longer is. It also creates space for new relationships to enter your life, ones that reflect your current needs, desires, and values. Change in relationships is not always about drifting apart. Sometimes it's about growing closer in new ways. As you and those around you evolve, you may find that your relationships deepen and take on new dimensions. For example, a friendship that was once based on shared activities might evolve into a more emotionally intimate connection as you both navigate life's challenges together. Similarly, a romantic relationship might shift from the passionate intensity of its early days to a more stable and enduring partnership. These changes, while different from what the relationship once was, can bring a deeper sense of fulfillment and connection. One of the keys to embracing the impermanence of relationships is to focus on the present moment. Rather than worrying about what the future holds or dwelling on the past, being fully present allows you to appreciate the relationship as it is right now. This doesn't mean ignoring the realities of change, but rather accepting that relationships will evolve and allowing yourself to experience and enjoy them as they are in each moment. By staying present, you can fully engage with the people in your life, creating memories and connections that are meaningful, even if they don't last forever. Communication is another crucial element in navigating changing relationships. As people grow and change, it's important to maintain open and honest communication about how those changes are affecting the relationship. This might mean discussing new boundaries, adjusting expectations, or simply acknowledging that things are different now. By communicating openly, you can ensure that both parties are on the same page and that the relationship can continue to grow and adapt in a healthy way. Avoiding these conversations can lead to misunderstandings, resentment, and ultimately the breakdown of the relationship. It's also important to recognize that change in relationships is not always symmetrical. One person might experience a significant shift in their life, such as a career change, a move, or a personal transformation, while the other remains more or less the same. This can create a sense of imbalance in the relationship, where one person feels left behind or out of sync with the other. In these situations, it's important to approach the relationship with empathy and understanding, acknowledging the other person's experience while also being honest about your own feelings. Sometimes, this may mean adjusting the dynamics of the relationship to better accommodate the changes, or it may mean recognizing that the relationship needs to take on a different form. Change can also bring with it the opportunity for reconciliation and renewal in relationships that have been strained or broken. As people grow and evolve, they may come to see things differently, leading to a renewed appreciation for relationships that were once difficult or distant. This doesn't mean that all relationships can or should be reconciled, but it does mean that change can sometimes bring about healing and new beginnings. By remaining open to the possibility of renewal, you can allow relationships to re-enter your life in a new and healthier form, based on who you and the other person are now, rather than who you were in the past. Another aspect of embracing change in relationships is learning to accept yourself and others as they are, rather than as you wish them to be. As people grow and change, they may no longer fit the mold of who you thought they were or who you wanted them to be. This can be challenging, especially if you have invested a lot of time and energy into the relationship. However, accepting people for who they are, flaws, changes and all, allows you to have more authentic and fulfilling connections. It also frees you from the burden of trying to change others or feeling disappointed when they don't meet your expectations. In relationships where change has led to distance or separation, it's important to practice forgiveness and let go of any lingering resentment or hurt. Holding on to these negative emotions can keep you stuck in the past and prevent you from moving forward. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or condoning the other person's actions, but rather releasing the emotional hold that those actions have on you. By forgiving and letting go, you can find peace and create space for new relationships and experiences that better align with who you are now. Embracing the impermanence of relationships also means recognizing that change is not always something that happens to you, but something that you actively choose. There may be times in your life when you realize that a relationship is no longer serving you and that it's time to move on. This can be a difficult decision, especially if there is a lot of history or emotional attachment involved. However, choosing to end a relationship that is no longer fulfilling can be an act of self-care and empowerment. It allows you to prioritize your own well-being and to seek out connections that are more aligned with your current needs and desires. As you navigate the changing landscape of your relationships, it's important to remember that change is a natural and necessary part of life. Just as the seasons change and the world around us evolves, so too do the people in our lives and the connections we share with them. By embracing this impermanence, you can approach your relationships with a sense of openness and acceptance, allowing them to evolve in their own time and in their own way. This doesn't mean that change is always easy or painless, but it does mean that you can find peace in knowing that it is a natural part of the journey. In the end, the ability to embrace change in relationships comes down to a willingness to let go of expectations, of the past, of the need for control. It's about trusting that as you and the people around you grow and evolve, your relationships will find their own way, whether that means deepening, shifting, or coming to an end. By letting go and allowing relationships to unfold naturally, you can experience the richness and diversity of human connection in all its forms, appreciating each relationship for what it is, for however long it lasts. As you continue to explore the truths about people and relationships, remember that change is not something to be feared or resisted, but something to be embraced. It is through change that we grow, learn, and ultimately become more fully ourselves. By accepting the impermanence of relationships, you can find a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment, knowing that each connection has its own unique purpose and place in your life, even as it evolves and changes over time. As we continue our journey through the truths of human relationships and the changes that shape them, we come to another reality that is often difficult to face. Not everyone will support your success. This realization can be particularly painful, especially when it comes from those you thought would be in your corner. Have you ever experienced the joy of achieving something significant, only to be met with indifference, subtle criticism, or even outright hostility from people you expected to be happy for you? The sting of such moments can be sharp, but understanding the roots of envy and competition can help you navigate these challenges with grace and resilience. Success is a powerful force. It has the ability to elevate us, to open doors, and to bring fulfillment. But it also has the potential to reveal the true nature of the people around us. When you achieve success, whether it's in your career, personal life, or any other area, you may find that not everyone is as thrilled for you as you had hoped. This can be a jarring experience, especially when it comes from friends, family members, or colleagues who you believed would be your biggest supporters. One of the reasons why some people may struggle to support your success is envy. Envy is a deeply rooted human emotion that arises when we perceive that someone else has something we desire but do not possess. It's a feeling that can eat away at a person, causing them to react in ways that are hurtful or dismissive. When someone close to you envies your success, they may not even be fully aware of their feelings. Instead of celebrating your achievements, they might downplay them, compare them to their own, or even avoid discussing them altogether. This behavior can leave you feeling confused and hurt, wondering why your success isn't being met with the enthusiasm you expected. It's important to understand that envy often stems from a place of insecurity. When people see you succeeding, it can trigger feelings of inadequacy or failure within themselves. They may start to question their own abilities, compare their lives to yours, and feel a sense of loss or disappointment about where they are in their own journey. This can be especially true if your success highlights areas in their life where they feel they have fallen short. In these moments, rather than confronting their own insecurities, they might project their discomfort onto you, leading to behaviors that can strain your relationship. Another factor that can contribute to a lack of support for your success is competition. In many areas of life, people are conditioned to view success as a limited resource, something that must be fought for and protected. This competitive mindset can cause people to see your achievements not as something to celebrate, but as a threat to their own aspirations. They may fear that your success diminishes their own chances of achieving similar goals, leading them to react with jealousy, resentment, or even sabotage. Competition can be particularly intense in professional environments, where colleagues may feel that your success could mean fewer opportunities for them. This can lead to a range of behaviors, from subtle undermining to outright hostility. For example, a colleague might withhold information that could help you succeed further, spread negative rumors about you, or take credit for your work. These actions are driven by a fear that your success could overshadow their own, leaving them feeling insecure about their position. Understanding the role of competition and envy in how people respond to your success is crucial for managing these dynamics. It's important to recognize that these reactions are often more about the other person's insecurities and fears than they are about you. When you understand this, it becomes easier to navigate these challenges without taking them personally. You can approach these situations with empathy, recognizing that the other person may be struggling with their own feelings of inadequacy or fear of being left behind. However, while it's important to be empathetic, it's also crucial to protect yourself from the negative impact of envy and competition. This means setting boundaries with those who do not support your success and seeking out relationships with people who genuinely celebrate your achievements. Surrounding yourself with individuals who uplift and encourage you is essential for maintaining your motivation and self-confidence. These are the people who will stand by you in your moments of triumph, offering genuine support and encouragement, rather than letting envy or competition cloud their response. It's also important to cultivate self-awareness about how you respond to the envy and competition of others. It can be tempting to downplay your success or hide your achievements to avoid making others uncomfortable. While this might seem like a way to keep the peace, it can ultimately diminish your own sense of accomplishment and prevent you from fully enjoying the fruits of your hard work. Instead, it's important to own your success with humility and grace, without feeling the need to apologize for it. Humility plays a significant role in how you navigate the reactions of others to your success. Being humble doesn't mean minimizing your achievements, but rather recognizing that your success is a result of hard work, opportunity, and often the support of others. By acknowledging the contributions of those who have helped you along the way, you can diffuse some of the envy and competition that may arise. People are more likely to support your success when they feel that it is not a threat to them, but rather a shared victory. At the same time, it's important to be mindful of how you share your successes with others. While it's natural to want to celebrate your achievements, it's also important to be sensitive to the feelings of those around you. This doesn't mean hiding your success, but rather finding the right balance between celebrating your accomplishments and being considerate of how others might be feeling. For example, if you know that a friend is struggling in an area where you have recently succeeded, you might choose to share your news in a way that acknowledges their feelings while still honoring your own achievement. It's also worth noting that not everyone who reacts negatively to your success is driven by envy or competition. Sometimes, people may struggle to support your success because it forces them to confront difficult truths about their own lives. For example, your success might highlight areas in their life where they feel unfulfilled or stuck, leading to feelings of sadness or frustration. In these cases, it's important to approach the situation with compassion, recognizing that their reaction may be more about their own struggles than about you. Dealing with the envy and competition of others can be challenging, but it can also be an opportunity for growth. These experiences can teach you valuable lessons about resilience, empathy, and the importance of surrounding yourself with supportive people. They can also help you develop a stronger sense of self-worth, one that is not dependent on the approval or validation of others. By focusing on your own journey and staying true to your values, you can navigate these challenges with confidence and grace. It's also important to remember that while not everyone will support your success, there will always be those who do. These are the people who genuinely care about you and want to see you thrive. They are the ones who will celebrate your achievements with you, offer words of encouragement when you need them, and stand by you through both the highs and lows. Cultivating and nurturing these relationships is essential for maintaining your motivation and sense of purpose. These are the connections that will sustain you, providing the support and encouragement you need to continue pursuing your goals. In situations where you encounter envy or competition, it can be helpful to focus on collaboration rather than rivalry. Instead of viewing others as competitors, try to see them as potential allies or partners in your journey. By fostering a spirit of collaboration, you can create an environment where everyone's success is celebrated and where mutual support leads to greater achievements for all involved. This approach not only helps to reduce the negative impact of envy and competition, but also builds stronger, more positive relationships. It's also important to recognize that your success can inspire others, even if their initial reaction is one of envy or competition. When people see someone else achieving their goals, it can serve as a reminder that success is possible and motivate them to pursue their own dreams. By sharing your journey, including the challenges and setbacks you faced along the way, you can provide a source of inspiration and encouragement to those around you. This can help to shift the focus from competition to shared growth and success. As you navigate the complexities of envy and competition, it's essential to stay true to yourself and your values. Success is a deeply personal journey, and it's important to define it on your own terms. This means setting goals that are meaningful to you, pursuing them with integrity, and measuring your achievements based on your own standards, rather than comparing yourself to others. By staying focused on your own path, you can maintain a sense of purpose and fulfillment, regardless of how others respond to your success. In the end, not everyone will support your success, and that's okay. What matters most is how you respond to these challenges and how you choose to move forward. By understanding the roots of envy and competition, setting healthy boundaries, and surrounding yourself with supportive people, you can navigate these dynamics with grace and resilience. Your success is a testament to your hard work, determination, and the support of those who truly care about you. By staying true to yourself and your values, you can continue to achieve your goals, inspire others, and build a life that is fulfilling and meaningful. As we move forward from the complexities of dealing with envy and competition, we encounter another profound truth that lies at the heart of all human relationships. People are flawed. This reality, though simple, is one of the most challenging to fully accept, both in others and in ourselves. Have you ever felt let down by someone you trusted, only to later realize that they were struggling with their own imperfections? Or perhaps you've been hard on yourself for not living up to your own expectations, feeling the weight of your own flaws pressing down on you. The journey to accepting imperfection is a path filled with both difficulty and liberation, as it requires us to confront the humanity in ourselves and those around us. From the moment we are born, we are works in progress. Each of us carries with us a unique blend of strengths and weaknesses, shaped by our experiences, upbringing, and intrinsic nature. This mix of traits defines who we are, but it also means that no one is perfect. We all have our limitations, our blind spots, and our moments of failure. This is true not just for ourselves, but for everyone we encounter. Understanding and embracing this fact can transform the way we relate to others and ourselves, fostering deeper connections and a more compassionate approach to life. One of the most difficult aspects of accepting imperfection in others is letting go of unrealistic expectations. We often enter relationships, whether they be friendships, romantic partnerships, or professional collaborations, with an idealized image of the other person. We expect them to be reliable, supportive, and understanding at all times, to never disappoint us or make mistakes. However, this idealized view is a setup for disappointment. People, by their very nature, are imperfect, and they will inevitably fall short of these expectations at times. When we hold on to these unrealistic standards, we set ourselves up for frustration and hurt, constantly expecting something that no one can consistently deliver. Letting go of these expectations doesn't mean lowering your standards or accepting mistreatment. Instead, it's about recognizing that everyone has their struggles, and that these struggles can sometimes lead to behaviors or decisions that hurt us. This understanding allows us to approach relationships with more empathy, seeing the person behind the actions and understanding that their imperfections are not a reflection of their worth or their love for us. It also helps us to navigate the inevitable conflicts and disappointments that arise in relationships with greater patience and understanding. Accepting flaws in others also means embracing the reality that people's flaws are often a reflection of their own pain, fears, and limitations. For example, someone who struggles with trust might have been hurt in the past and now finds it difficult to open up. Another person might seem overly critical or harsh because they are dealing with their own insecurities and fears of inadequacy. When we begin to see flaws as symptoms of deeper issues rather than personal attacks, we can respond with compassion rather than defensiveness. This shift in perspective not only helps to strengthen our relationships, but also fosters a more compassionate and forgiving approach to others. However, accepting imperfection in others is not just about understanding them, it's also about setting healthy boundaries. While it's important to recognize and empathize with others' flaws, it's equally important to protect your own well-being. This means acknowledging when someone's behavior, even if it's rooted in their own struggles, is harmful to you. Setting boundaries allows you to maintain a healthy relationship while still recognizing the other person's humanity. It's about balancing empathy with self-respect, ensuring that you are not sacrificing your own needs in the process of accepting others. Just as we must learn to accept the flaws of others, we must also learn to accept our own imperfections. This can be even more challenging as we are often our harshest critics. We hold ourselves to high standards, and when we fall short, we can be quick to judge, criticize, or even punish ourselves. However, just as others are imperfect, so too are we. We will make mistakes, we will fail, and we will have moments where we don't live up to our own expectations. Accepting this is a crucial step towards self-compassion and personal growth. Self-acceptance involves recognizing that your flaws do not define you. They are simply a part of who you are, just as your strengths are. When you can accept your imperfections without judgment, you create space for growth and change. Rather than being paralyzed by guilt or shame, you can approach your flaws with curiosity and a willingness to learn. This mindset shift allows you to view mistakes as opportunities for growth rather than as indicators of your worth. Moreover, accepting your imperfections can also lead to greater authenticity in your relationships. When you are honest about your flaws, you give others permission to do the same. This honesty fosters deeper connections, as it creates an environment where both parties can be themselves without fear of judgment. In this way, embracing your own imperfections not only benefits you, but also strengthens your relationships with others. Another important aspect of accepting imperfection is learning to forgive, both yourself and others. Forgiveness is not about condoning harmful behavior or pretending that hurtful actions didn't happen. Instead, it's about releasing the hold that these actions have on you, allowing you to move forward without being weighed down by resentment or anger. Forgiving others for their imperfections means recognizing that they are doing the best they can with the tools and knowledge they have. It's about understanding that everyone is on their own journey and that mistakes are a natural part of that process. Forgiving yourself is equally important. We all carry regrets, things we wish we had done differently, mistakes we wish we hadn't made. But holding on to these regrets only keeps us stuck in the past, preventing us from growing and moving forward. Self-forgiveness means acknowledging your mistakes, learning from them, and then letting them go. It's about accepting that you are human and that imperfection is part of the human experience. By forgiving yourself, you free yourself from the burden of guilt and open the door to personal growth and healing. In addition to forgiveness, embracing imperfection also involves practicing humility. Humility is not about diminishing your worth or downplaying your achievements. Instead, it's about recognizing that you, like everyone else, have limitations and that you don't have all the answers. This recognition allows you to approach life with a sense of openness and curiosity, always willing to learn and grow. It also fosters a greater sense of connection with others, as it allows you to relate to them on a more equal and authentic level. Humility also plays a crucial role in how we interact with others. When we approach relationships with humility, we are more likely to listen, to empathize, and to forgive. We are less likely to judge others for their flaws because we recognize that we too have our own. This creates an environment of mutual respect and understanding where both parties can grow and learn together. By practicing humility, we can build stronger, more supportive relationships that are based on a shared acceptance of each other's imperfections. Another key component of accepting imperfection is resilience. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and disappointments, many of which are the result of our own or others' imperfections. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from these challenges, to learn from them, and to continue moving forward. When we accept that imperfection is a natural part of life, we become more resilient because we are not as easily discouraged by setbacks. Instead of viewing challenges as failures, we see them as opportunities for growth and learning. This mindset not only helps us to overcome obstacles, but also allows us to approach life with greater confidence and optimism. Accepting imperfection also means letting go of the need for control. We often try to control situations, people, and outcomes in an attempt to create a perfect life. However, this desire for control is often rooted in fear: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. When we let go of the need for control, we open ourselves up to the natural flow of life, allowing things to unfold as they are meant to. This doesn't mean being passive or complacent, but rather accepting that there are some things we cannot change and that it's okay to let go. By releasing the need for control, we can find greater peace and contentment in the present moment, free from the constant pressure to make everything perfect. Finally, embracing imperfection requires us to practice self-compassion. Self-compassion is the act of treating yourself with the same kindness, care, and understanding that you would offer to a friend. It means recognizing that you are worthy of love and acceptance, flaws and all. When you practice self-compassion, you allow yourself to be human, to make mistakes, and to learn from them without harsh judgment. This self-compassion creates a foundation of self-love that supports your growth and well-being, allowing you to approach life with greater confidence and resilience. In the end, accepting imperfection in both yourself and others is a journey, not a destination. It's a practice that requires ongoing effort, mindfulness, and compassion. But as you continue on this path, you will find that it leads to deeper connections, greater self-awareness, and a more fulfilling and authentic life. By embracing the reality of imperfection, you free yourself from the burden of unrealistic expectations, allowing you to experience life in all its messy, beautiful complexity. As we continue our exploration of human nature, having accepted the imperfections in ourselves and others, we now arrive at a truth that is both empowering and challenging. You can't control others' actions. This realization can be a hard pill to swallow, especially when you've invested in relationships, worked tirelessly to build connections, and hoped that others would respond in ways that align with your expectations. Have you ever felt the frustration of watching someone you care about make choices that you believe are harmful or unwise? Or perhaps you found yourself caught in a cycle of trying to influence or change someone's behavior, only to be met with resistance or disappointment. Understanding that you cannot control others, but only your response to them, is a key to finding peace and empowerment in your interactions. The desire to control others' actions often stems from a place of care or concern. You want the best for the people you love, and it's natural to feel compelled to steer them away from decisions that you believe will lead to pain or hardship. However, the more we try to control others, the more resistance we often encounter. People, by their very nature, value their autonomy and the freedom to make their own choices. When they feel pressured or manipulated, they are likely to push back, leading to conflict and strain in the relationship. This is why it's essential to recognize that while you can influence others, you cannot control them. One of the most liberating aspects of accepting that you cannot control others is the realization that you are not responsible for their choices. This understanding can bring a deep sense of relief, particularly in relationships where you've felt burdened by the need to fix or guide someone else. When you accept that others are responsible for their own actions and the consequences that follow, you free yourself from the weight of trying to manage their lives. This doesn't mean you stop caring or offering support, but it does mean letting go of the need to control the outcome. Focusing on your response rather than trying to control others also allows you to reclaim your own power. In situations where someone's actions affect you negatively, it's easy to feel powerless, caught in a web of someone else's decisions. However, while you may not be able to change their behavior, you always have the power to choose how you respond. This might mean setting boundaries to protect yourself, choosing to walk away from a toxic situation, or simply deciding not to let someone else's actions dictate your emotional state. By focusing on your response, you regain control over your own life and emotions. This approach is particularly important in situations where someone's actions are hurtful or disappointing. It's natural to feel anger, sadness, or frustration when someone lets you down. However, dwelling on these feelings or trying to force the other person to change only prolongs your suffering. Instead, by focusing on how you respond, you can find ways to move forward that honor your well-being. This might involve having a difficult conversation, deciding to forgive, or choosing to distance yourself from the situation. Whatever the response, the key is that it is your choice, not something dictated by the other person's behavior. In relationships, focusing on your response rather than trying to control others also fosters healthier dynamics. When you accept that you cannot control someone else, you allow them the space to be themselves, with all their flaws and idiosyncrasies. This acceptance can lead to deeper, more authentic connections, where both parties feel respected and understood. It also reduces the pressure on the relationship, as you're no longer trying to mold the other person into who you think they should be. Instead, you can focus on supporting each other's growth in a way that honors both of your individual paths. Another important aspect of focusing on your response is recognizing that your emotions are within your control, even when others' actions are not. It's easy to feel that someone else's behavior is the cause of your anger, frustration, or sadness. However, while their actions may trigger these emotions, how you choose to deal with those feelings is entirely up to you. By taking responsibility for your emotional responses, you empower yourself to manage your feelings in a way that is healthy and constructive. This might involve practicing mindfulness, seeking support from others, or finding ways to express your emotions that lead to healing rather than conflict. This approach is particularly powerful in dealing with difficult or toxic relationships. When you focus on your response rather than trying to change the other person, you can protect your mental and emotional health. This might mean setting firm boundaries, deciding not to engage in arguments, or even choosing to end the relationship if it's causing more harm than good. By taking control of your response, you ensure that you are not allowing someone else's behavior to dictate your happiness or well-being. Focusing on your response also helps to reduce stress and anxiety in situations where you feel out of control. When faced with uncertainty or conflict, it's natural to want to manage every aspect of the situation to ensure a positive outcome. However, this need for control can lead to increased anxiety, as you realize that there are many factors outside of your influence. By shifting your focus to your response, you can find peace in the knowledge that while you cannot control everything, you can control how you deal with it. This mindset shift can significantly reduce stress and help you navigate challenging situations with greater calm and clarity. In addition to reducing stress, focusing on your response can also improve your relationships by fostering a greater sense of empathy and understanding. When you accept that others are responsible for their own actions, you can approach them with curiosity rather than judgment. This allows you to better understand their motivations, fears, and desires, leading to more compassionate and effective communication. Rather than trying to control or change them, you can engage in conversations that respect their autonomy while also expressing your own needs and boundaries. Another key benefit of focusing on your response is that it encourages personal growth and self-awareness. When you stop trying to control others, you have more energy and focus to invest in your own development. This might involve working on your communication skills, developing greater emotional intelligence, or finding ways to better manage stress and conflict. By focusing on yourself, you not only improve your own life, but also set a positive example for those around you. This can lead to a ripple effect, where others are inspired to take responsibility for their own actions and growth as well. It's also important to recognize that focusing on your response doesn't mean becoming passive or accepting unacceptable behavior. On the contrary, it means taking active steps to protect your well-being and create the life you want. This might involve making difficult decisions, such as ending a relationship, leaving a job, or setting boundaries with a loved one. These actions are not about controlling others, but about taking control of your own life and ensuring that you are not allowing others' actions to dictate your happiness. In professional settings, focusing on your response can also lead to more effective leadership and collaboration. As a leader or team member, you may often find yourself dealing with difficult personalities or challenging situations. Trying to control others' actions in these contexts can lead to conflict and a breakdown in communication. However, by focusing on how you respond, you can model the behavior you want to see and create an environment of mutual respect and cooperation. This approach not only improves team dynamics, but also leads to better outcomes as everyone feels valued and heard. Another aspect of focusing on your response is the practice of detachment. Detachment doesn't mean becoming indifferent or uncaring, but rather maintaining a healthy emotional distance from others' actions. This allows you to remain grounded and centered, even when faced with difficult situations. By practicing detachment, you can observe others' behavior without becoming overly emotionally involved, which helps you to respond more calmly and effectively. This practice can be particularly useful in high-stress situations or when dealing with people who have a tendency to provoke or manipulate. Focusing on your response also involves cultivating patience and acceptance. People often change and grow at their own pace, and trying to force or rush that process can lead to frustration and resentment. By accepting that you cannot control how quickly or in what way someone else changes, you can approach the relationship with more patience and understanding. This acceptance doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior, but rather recognizing that true change comes from within and cannot be imposed from the outside. By focusing on your own growth and response, you create a more supportive and loving environment that encourages positive change naturally. Finally, focusing on your response allows you to live more fully in the present moment. When you are constantly trying to control others, you are often focused on the future, on what might happen if they don't change, or how things could go wrong. This future-oriented thinking can lead to anxiety and prevent you from enjoying the present. However, when you focus on your response, you bring your attention back to the here and now. You become more aware of your own feelings, thoughts, and actions, and can make choices that are in alignment with your values and well-being. This present moment focus not only reduces stress, but also allows you to experience life more fully and authentically. While you cannot control others' actions, you have complete control over how you respond to them. By shifting your focus from trying to change others to managing your own reactions, you empower yourself to live a more peaceful, fulfilling, and authentic life. This approach fosters healthier relationships, reduces stress, and encourages personal growth, allowing you to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. By embracing this truth, you can find greater freedom and happiness in your interactions with others and in your own journey of self-discovery and empowerment. As we continue to explore the intricacies of human relationships, having acknowledged that we cannot control others' actions and must focus on our own responses, we arrive at another unavoidable truth. Some people will disappoint you. This reality is one that we all encounter, yet it often catches us off guard, leaving us feeling hurt, confused, and even betrayed. Have you ever placed your trust in someone only to have them let you down in a way you never expected? The pain of disappointment can be deep, especially when it comes from those we care about or rely on. But learning to manage expectations and practice forgiveness can help us navigate these difficult moments with greater resilience and understanding. Disappointment is a natural part of life, an inevitable consequence of living in a world where we interact with others who have their own motivations, limitations, and flaws. It can arise in any type of relationship, whether with friends, family, colleagues, or romantic partners, and it often stems from unmet expectations. When someone doesn't live up to what we hoped or believed they would do, the gap between our expectations and reality can lead to feelings of disappointment. This emotional gap is where much of the pain of disappointment lies, as we grapple with the difference between what we wanted and what actually happened. One of the key ways to manage disappointment is by reassessing and adjusting our expectations. Expectations, while necessary for guiding our relationships and interactions, can sometimes be unrealistic or based on assumptions rather than reality. When we expect someone to behave in a certain way or to fulfill a particular role without clearly communicating these expectations, we set ourselves up for disappointment. This is because we are holding others to standards that they may not even be aware of, or that they may not be capable of meeting due to their own limitations. Reevaluating our expectations involves being honest with ourselves about what is reasonable to expect from others. This doesn't mean lowering our standards to the point of accepting poor treatment, but rather aligning our expectations with the reality of who the other person is, rather than who we want them to be. It means recognizing that everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, and that they may not always be able to meet our needs or desires in the way we hope. By setting more realistic expectations, we can reduce the likelihood of being disappointed and approach our relationships with greater clarity and understanding. Another important aspect of managing disappointment is communication. Often, disappointment arises not because someone intentionally let us down, but because there was a misunderstanding or a lack of clear communication about what was expected. By expressing our needs and expectations clearly and directly, we can help to prevent misunderstandings and reduce the chances of disappointment. This doesn't guarantee that others will always meet our expectations, but it does create a foundation for more open and honest interactions where both parties understand what is expected and can work towards meeting those expectations. When disappointment does occur, it's important to acknowledge and process the emotions that come with it. Disappointment can trigger a range of feelings, including sadness, anger, frustration, and even betrayal. These emotions are valid and should not be ignored or suppressed. Allowing yourself to feel and express these emotions is a crucial step in moving through disappointment and finding a way forward. Whether it's talking to a trusted friend, writing in a journal, or simply sitting with your feelings, giving yourself the space to process the disappointment can help you to gain clarity and begin the healing process. Once you've acknowledged your feelings, the next step is to practice forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about excusing or condoning the actions that led to the disappointment, but rather about letting go of the anger and resentment that can keep you stuck in the past. Holding on to these negative emotions can be toxic, both for you and for the relationship. Forgiveness is a way of releasing the hold that the disappointment has on you, allowing you to move forward with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. Forgiving someone who has disappointed you can be difficult, especially if the hurt runs deep. It requires empathy and a willingness to see the situation from the other person's perspective. This doesn't mean justifying their actions, but rather understanding that they may have been acting out of their own limitations, fears, or misunderstandings. By approaching the situation with empathy, you can begin to soften the edges of your anger and find a path towards forgiveness. It's also important to forgive yourself when you experience disappointment. Sometimes we can be our own harshest critics, blaming ourselves for trusting someone or for having expectations that were not met. However, just as others are imperfect, so too are we. We all have moments where we misjudge a situation or place our trust in the wrong person. Forgiving yourself means acknowledging your own humanity and accepting that disappointment is a natural part of life. It's about being kind to yourself and allowing yourself to learn from the experience without carrying unnecessary guilt or shame. Learning to manage expectations and practice forgiveness can also strengthen your resilience in the face of future disappointments. The more you practice these skills, the better equipped you will be to handle the inevitable ups and downs of relationships. You'll find that you're less likely to be caught off guard by disappointment and more capable of responding to it in a way that honors your own well-being. This resilience doesn't mean becoming indifferent or detached, but rather developing a deeper sense of acceptance and understanding that allows you to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. Another aspect of managing disappointment is recognizing when it's time to let go of a relationship that consistently fails to meet your needs or expectations. While forgiveness and adjusting expectations are important, there are times when a relationship may be causing more harm than good. If someone repeatedly disappoints you despite your best efforts to communicate and set realistic expectations, it may be a sign that the relationship is no longer serving you. Letting go can be incredibly difficult, especially when there is a strong emotional attachment, but it can also be a necessary step in protecting your own well-being and making space for healthier connections. Letting go doesn't have to be a bitter or angry process. It can be an act of self-love and self-respect, where you acknowledge that the relationship is no longer aligned with your needs and values. This doesn't mean you stop caring about the other person, but rather that you recognize that the relationship as it currently stands is not contributing to your growth or happiness. By letting go with grace and compassion, you allow both yourself and the other person the freedom to move forward in a way that is more authentic and fulfilling. At the same time, it's important to remember that not all disappointments require drastic actions. Sometimes, a single instance of disappointment can be a learning experience that strengthens the relationship rather than weakens it. By addressing the disappointment openly and working through it together, you can build a deeper level of trust and understanding. This process requires both parties to be willing to engage in honest communication and to make the necessary changes to prevent similar disappointments in the future. In addition to managing your expectations of others, It's also crucial to manage your expectations of yourself. Just as others will disappoint you, there will be times when you disappoint yourself. You may set goals that you don't achieve, make promises that you can't keep, or act in ways that don't align with your values. These moments can be deeply frustrating and disheartening, but they are also opportunities for growth and self-compassion. By recognizing that you too are imperfect, you can approach your own disappointments with the same empathy and forgiveness that you extend to others. Self-forgiveness is a powerful tool in overcoming disappointment in yourself. It involves acknowledging your mistakes, learning from them, and then letting them go. Holding on to self-blame or guilt only serves to keep you stuck in a cycle of negativity, preventing you from moving forward. Instead, by practicing self-forgiveness, you can release the burden of disappointment and focus on what you can do differently in the future. This process of self-reflection and growth is essential for building resilience and maintaining a positive self-image, even in the face of setbacks. It's also important to recognize that disappointment often arises from the gap between reality and our expectations. This gap can be narrowed by cultivating a mindset of acceptance and gratitude. Instead of focusing on what went wrong or what didn't meet your expectations, try to shift your perspective to what you can appreciate about the situation or relationship. This doesn't mean ignoring the disappointment, but rather balancing it with a recognition of the positive aspects. By cultivating gratitude, you can soften the impact of disappointment and maintain a more balanced and optimistic outlook. Gratitude can also help you to see disappointment as an opportunity for growth. Every disappointment, whether it's in yourself or others, offers a lesson. It might teach you something about your own needs and boundaries, or it might reveal areas where a relationship needs to be strengthened. By approaching disappointment with a mindset of curiosity and learning, you can transform it from a purely negative experience into a catalyst for positive change. In relationships, learning to manage expectations and disappointment also involves being realistic about what others can offer. No one person can fulfill all your needs or meet all your expectations. Each relationship has its own unique strengths and limitations, and it's important to recognize and appreciate what each person brings to your life. By accepting people for who they are, rather than who you want them to be, you can reduce the likelihood of disappointment and build more fulfilling connections. This acceptance doesn't mean settling for less than you deserve, but rather understanding that everyone has their own set of strengths and weaknesses. By focusing on the positive aspects of your relationships and accepting the limitations, you can create a more balanced and realistic view of others. This perspective allows you to enjoy and appreciate your relationships for what they are, rather than being disappointed by what they are not. In conclusion, disappointment is an inevitable part of life and relationships, but it doesn't have to be a source of ongoing pain or resentment. By learning to manage your expectations, practicing forgiveness, and cultivating self-compassion, you can navigate disappointment with grace and resilience. These skills allow you to maintain healthy relationships, protect your own well-being, and approach life's challenges with a more balanced and positive mindset. Disappointment may be unavoidable, but by embracing it as a natural part of the human experience, you can find greater peace and fulfillment in your interactions with others and in your own journey of growth and self-discovery. As we've journeyed through these hard truths about people, we've uncovered the reality that not everyone will like you, that people are inherently self-interested, and that trust must be earned. We've embraced the fact that people change, and with them, our relationships evolve. We've faced the challenges of envy and competition, acknowledged the imperfections in ourselves and others, and learned the liberating truth that we can only control our own responses, not the actions of others. Finally, we've grappled with the inevitability of disappointment and the importance of managing our expectations and practicing forgiveness. These truths, while tough to accept, are also the keys to living a more authentic, resilient, and fulfilling life. By understanding and embracing these realities, you empower yourself to navigate the complexities of human relationships with grace and wisdom. You become stronger, more compassionate, and more at peace with the world around you. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these truths resonated with you the most? Have you experienced any of these hard truths in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to continue this conversation with you. If you found value in this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more insights like these. Your journey of growth and understanding is just beginning, and we're here to navigate it together.